It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: Watford Mayor says town wants assurances over hospital. Hertfordshire Roads Company fined over £500,000. And firework display returning to Luton.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. West Hert's NHS Trust has responsibility for hospitals in Watford, Hemel Hempstead and St Albans, and was given an overall rating of inadequate by the Care Quality Commission. More from Ollie Bayliss.
The Mayor of Watford, Dorothy Thornhill, says people are understandably concerned about the level of care they will receive at the hospital. It's now been put into special measures following the report, which said it needed to make a number of improvements to its care. We're yet to hear from the Chief Executive as to what improvements will be made.
The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. Ringway was fined around £670,000 over the last 2 years for failing to respond to repair requests, not gritting roads quickly enough and working without a road permit. Power sharing in Northern Ireland is on the brink of collapse following the resignation of the First Minister, Peter Robinson, and most other DUP ministers. Unionists and Republicans are in dispute about whether the IRA has been fully disbanded. A coach driver from Hertfordshire who fell asleep at the wheel while taking school children on a trip will be sentenced today. 23-year-old Ross Ogilvie has already pleaded guilty to dangerous driving. More from Carol Abercrombie.
The coach from Richmond Coaches, based in the Hertfordshire village of Barley, was among a convoy taking school children from Cambridgeshire to Hunstanton, but it left the A10 at Hilgey in Norfolk and crashed into a ditch. Ogilvie had to be cut free, but the 42 children and teachers on board escaped with only minor injuries. Ogilvie from Heathfield in Royston no longer works for the company.
Extra police patrols are being carried out in Fishermead in Milton Keynes to reassure the public after a woman suffered serious stab injuries at a house on the estate on Wednesday night. The woman in her 30s is in a critical condition in hospital. A 38-year-old man has been arrested. Police say they were known to each other. MPs are to vote on a bill to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. It would allow doctors to give a lethal dose of drugs to adults who have requested it and are thought to have less than 6 months to live. After a 2-year absence, Luton's firework display will be returning in November. The Borough Council had cancelled the event at Pope's Meadow because of cutbacks, but Sian Timoney, Labour's deputy leader of the council, says sponsorship from Luton Airport means it can go ahead.
We had to make difficult decisions, and I'm just really, really pleased that we've got some sponsorship. I really want to thank Lau. It's what people want, and we're going to have a great night there, so I hope loads of people come along and enjoy that.
In sport, Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations. The weather bright and breezy with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Maybe your daddy never held you like he should. Maybe your mama just held on the best she
It's Bill Withers with Lovely Day. Let's hope that you have a lovely day.
We've all been abused. Now it's time to lose the weight of the world. The weight of the world. The weight of the
Lovely day. Well, that was various artists and Perfect Day, and we hope you have a perfect day. I'm really tired, Kath. I've had 4 hours sleep. You can't look at me like that. Don't anyone look at me. Go away. You're not looking at me. 4 hours sleep. Imagine that.
I've never seen a man asleep talking before.
I was. Stop that now. I was in Brighton last night.
Were you? Right on Brighton.
Right on Brighton.
Did they brighten up your day?
They said, well, yeah. If by brightening up your day you mean was everything really, really expensive? Is that what you mean? Because it was.
I've been there. Yeah, it's expensive seaside, isn't it?
I'm going to say, because everyone says, "Oh, it's London by the sea." I'm going to say it out expenses London.
Yeah.
It's the most expensive. Yeah, it's the most expensive place in the world.
What is it more like by the sea?
Literally in the world. Huh?
What town would you?
Tokyo!
Tokyo, but no, it's not Tokyo, is it?
No, it's just like, I don't know, it's just, I'm not going to diss Brighton because, but I mean, that's not a beach. If it's not sand, you're not coming in. It's not a beach, it's pebbles.
Too knobbly to be a beach. But there was a man there in a delightful T-shirt. I've never seen a T-shirt with a quote from one of our guests before.
I was doing a show in Brighton and doing a show in Worcester tonight, not many tickets left. Doing a show in Swindon tomorrow, absolutely shed loads of tickets left. I would say approximately 80% of the tickets are left. But there was a gentleman last night, Stacey, boys with girl's name, we can do that.
He looked like a man.
He looked like a geezer.
Yeah.
And he was so taken by the story. I can't remember what the story was.
I know what it was about. It was about that green waste plant that smells like poo.
Oh, yeah. And there was an old man.
We asked a man, what did it smell like? And he said, it smells like dog dirt rolled in sick.
Dog dirt covered in sick.
All right.
And Stacey's mom has got it going on. He had a T-shirt printed up with the slogan and a picture.
A little picture, yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
She wondered what it looked
and
like.
I said, why have you done that? And he said, oh, it's because I found the image so disturbing, so upsetting that I had to embrace it to try and get over it. Otherwise, it would have given him nightmares.
Yeah.
So well done, that guy. For
also, he's sharing it with everyone else now, so everyone else can have it.
He was wearing it out in public. It was incredible. Anyway. Let's do this. People need reassurance about the quality of care at Watford General now that it's been placed in special measures. The call is coming from a number of politicians, including the town's mayor, Dorothy Thornhill. We spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? She's seeking clarity from hospital bosses Clarity after the Care Quality Commission found services inadequate at Watford, St Albans and Hemel hospitals and told the West Herts Hospital Trust, which runs them, that urgent improvements are needed. We're yet to hear from the Chief Exec of West Herts Hospital Trust as to what improvements to be made. Catherine, just remind us what the report said.
All right, well, so the Care Quality Commission inspected the 3 hospitals which, as you say, were run by the West Herts NHS Trust. All 5 aspects of the services at those hospitals were rated inadequate or requiring improvement. Inspectors, including doctors, nurses and midwives, spent 4 days at the Trust in April and 2 days there in May. Both Watford and St Albans were rated as inadequate overall, and Hemel Hempstead Hospital was rated as requiring improvement. The CQC found that the emergency department of Watford was using untrained staff to assess patients. It said that frequent staff shortages and poor management of agency staff in the maternity unit increased risk to patients. The Chief Inspector of Hospitals, Professor Sir Mike Richards, said the majority of staff were caring and compassionate, but the inspectors were struck by the low morale of many of the staff that they interviewed. This report comes shortly after news that West Herts Hospital Trust is also in financial trouble. Now it's predicted to spend £30 million more than it will bring in during that time. Yesterday, people spoke to us and echoed the concerns raised in the report. We heard some terrible stories, and people want some assurance that the situation at the hospitals will improve.
So who else has raised concerns then about the future of the hospital?
Well, the Mayor of Watford, Dorothy Thornhill, and she'll be talking to us later on. She's told us she's not surprised by the report. She says she's been aware of problems with the management of Watford for the last 10 years. Speaking on behalf of the people of the town, she says people are upset by the report and seeking assurances about the future quality of care they might receive at Watford, St Albans or Hemel Hempstead. And also the Conservative MP for Watford, Richard Harrington's also worried. He says he finds the report extremely disappointing. However, he's optimistic about the future of the hospital and hopes the report will be a catalyst for improvement.
Now, we've had many examples on this show of when PR departments go wrong, and the PR. Remember when Colette Paul first got the job, and she as what was she, the chief constable? Of Bedfordshire Police. And the PR woman came in and sat in the studio. I've only ever had that happen once before with Ray Davies from the Kinks.
Right. So just so you know, normally they sit in with us, so we're through a glass.
Well, normally
glass door.
they don't even come in.
Or they sit upstairs in reception. She was sitting kind of next to Colette Paul, so you're talking to a person and having their minder sitting next to
And she was furious because I said, "And sorry, you are on air. Don't mention me on air. Well, you sat in my studio. I'm going to talk to you, love."
And what did she think she was going to do if Colette got into a sticky situation? She was going to whisper to her.
Since then, she caused problems.
It's got
for us.
tricky.
Anyway, so PR. And then we had the PR disaster around Penn School where they engaged a PR company. And the PR person yesterday, I would suggest, was a twit. They made things worse. And then they did some weird PR during the day. What was West Herts actually said?
Right, well, this is the thing. They invited us to a media briefing before the CQC had released the report. So we were going to a media briefing about something that we didn't know what it was. We knew it was something to do with the CQC. We had no idea what was coming. And then they invite questions about a report we haven't seen. So, it got questioned. So they allowed us to record this interview under their conditions at a press conference. And then they resented the fact that we asked them why the timing. Then they've been really vocal on Twitter, emphasising the positive aspects of the report without mentioning, it would seem, that they were judged overall as inadequate and that they've been put into special measures, which you would think would be the thing that leaps out to most people. Here's an example of some of the tweets. Our CQC report praised the dementia team for their delirium recovery programme, which helps patients return home early without support. Another tweet said, the report also rated the care delivered by the Children's Emergency Department as outstanding. Hashtag patient care, hashtag NHS.
They made a video. We haven't got the audio of the video, but they made a video, didn't they? Like a little 3-minute advert.
Oh, with inspirational, uplifting music. Guys, people are not stupid. And in fact, this is making it look like you're trying to be clever and failing.
Just come on and answer some questions, for goodness sakes. Because, do you know what?
Do you know what
I mean? I can see Dealey out there, because Dealey was at the press conference. And it's just come on.
I'm sure the chief exec can handle it.
Yeah. The longer it goes on, the more like plums you look. 03 now.
I mean, we were told at one point this is not how media briefings work. Well, no, this is not how the media works. We don't read out your press releases and not question them.
Who do you think I am? Bernie Keith? Is he a person?
He is,
I like Bernie Keith. I do. I keep saying Bernie Keith only because I looked at a picture of him last night for far too long.
You've been thinking about him a lot.
I like Bernie Keith a lot, actually. I think he's good. Right, now, at 7:30 today, this is make or break, guys. This is make or break. I'm not going to come in and bust my balls for you.
I wouldn't.
My tennis balls.
No.
And by the way, isn't the first time you see a cut-open tennis ball the best thing in the world? It looks like a Pac-Man. You don't see them cut open anymore.
No, we don't need to do those experiments anymore. We know what's inside them.
Is it true that inside a golf ball it's just loads of elastic bands tied up?
I've never opened a golf ball, so I couldn't tell you.
03459 455 555. If anyone has access to a golf ball and some really strong cutting equipment, call us up. I need to know. Is it just elastic bands in there?
Would an electric bread knife do it?
Let's find out.
I'll have a go later.
Let's find out. But at 7:30, we're playing iPod roulette. This is make or break. This is
Promise?
make or break. I've got. I'll be honest. I've got the Dave channel interested in this as a TV format.
Yeah.
ITV2 are sniffing around my iPod, right? So if we don't get decent challenges to go up against Ribena Rosie, then it's going.
I like Ribena Rosie in that, but I mean, you can get too much Ribena.
So we're looking for players for iPod roulette. We only need one. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. What?
I can't join in. But you're telling me to give you a call.
I'm literally. Oh, that's the start of the show.
What
Hang
are
on
you
a minute.
doing?
That's the start of the show. So that's still the start of the show. This is the travel.
Yeah.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Expected to get busier later on the North Orbital Road at St Albans. It's down to the one lane in each direction between the Park Street roundabout and the London Coney roundabout for works on the Knapsbury Lane Bridge. In Aylesbury, Gatehouse Road, the A41, that's got roadworks around Gatehouse Way, also likely to cause some delays. No problems on the trains. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. Hang on a second. Hang on. There we go, beautiful. Right, where are we? 6:16, it's Friday the 11th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company, hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads, has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And power sharing in Northern Ireland is on the brink of collapse following the resignation of the First Minister, Peter Robinson, in a dispute about whether the IRA has been fully disbanded or not.
We've had a brilliant summer of cricket.
That's Edson Court, it's all over.
But once again, we're also celebrating our unsung sporting heroes.
He has such passion for sport. I'm extremely proud of what we've achieved here.
Who will you nominate? We're looking for someone who inspires people to get involved in sport across beds, hearts and bucks.
He's funny, he's never strict with you, so you don't feel pressured.
To make your nominations, go to bbc.co.uk/unsung-hero and download an entry form. The closing date is Thursday, 22nd of October.
Right, I'm gonna stop this. Dealey.
Yes, player.
You know sports, don't you?
Well, I do know sports, not personally, but I do know sports, football in particular, yes.
I'm going to play that trail again. There's a bit in there that makes me very uncomfortable.
Okay.
Just have a listen. Here we go.
All right, mate.
We've had a brilliant summer of cricket.
That's Edson
Well, that's a lie.
But
that's not it.
We're
Here we go.
also celebrating.
It's a young person speaking about someone.
Sporting heroes.
Makes me very
He has
uncomfortable.
such passion for sport. I'm extremely proud of what we've achieved
Here we go.
Who will you nominate?
Here we go.
We're looking for someone who inspires people to get involved in sport across beds, hearts and
Here it comes.
Funny, he's never strict with you, so you don't feel pressured.
To make
Right, there you go.
What kind of coach is that?
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't feel pressured. He's never strict with you. Well, then you're not going to win.
You don't turn up.
You don't turn up. We're allowed to do it in our jeans.
We can smoke tabs.
We can have a fag on, and we can even do it while we're playing on the Xbox. That, to me, Justin, that's not a sporting inspirational hero. That's a slacker.
Yeah, for once I agree with you. You see, sport for me,
once.
sport is all about discipline. You
Yeah.
have to go out onto that pitch, and you have to be absolutely terrified that if you don't win, something bad is going to happen.
He should be giving
chilled
him.
out.
He should be giving him the hairdryer treatment.
Who was it? Was it Iraq? Or was it Libya, where the football team, if they didn't do well, they got shot, didn't they?
I think we can say both. No one's going to challenge us on that.
They got shot.
Oh.
That was Colombia.
Was it Colombia? Right, yeah, if they did. But so, I'm not saying we should maybe go to that level. You possibly are, Justin. You're a little bit more right-wing than me.
Not with kids, just maybe Chinese burns.
But you go, oh yeah, we don't feel pressured. No, you should feel pressured. It's sport. Run faster! You didn't run fast. Was Jason gone? Did we lose Jason?
Jason, we lost you. I'm going to put
We're going to put Jason.
She's on it.
She's on Jason.
Fader 2.
Morning, Jason.
Good morning, Ian. How are we doing?
I'm angry about this slack attitude we've got towards sports in this country.
I'm angry about the static I'm getting from your radio station.
Oh, blimey. Go on. What's happening?
Because I've been listening to you for the past 6 months or so, getting my car back at 6 o'clock in the morning.
You must be tired.
I am. Only encroached till I get to BBC Surrey down the M25.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I keep getting static. I just lost the phone call, and it's still there, and it's quite disappointing on the chat show, really, to have lost the static, as you can imagine.
I like the way you're blaming it on me, aren't you? Is what's going on?
Well, I've changed channels, I've retuned, and I think it's much easier just to change channel than it is to check on another radio.
Well, now I feel bad because Grumpy Jamie on Twitter has said, all I can hear is crackling from the show this morning. Do you have a fault? And I've replied, yeah, my fist, your face.
There's the attitude.
And I thought it was a reference towards the fact that we're playing records, Jason. But you're saying there's actually genuine... Now, are you listening on the FM frequencies?
I am, yes.
Have you tried us on the AM frequencies?
No, I haven't. It isn't for me to change my end, is it? It's for you to correct yours.
Oh, I mean, come on. Do you want to win, or do you want us to come to some sort of agreement?
Can we just try something?
Yeah.
Can you try us on the AM? I think we're 606 on the AM, aren't we? We're around about there.
I'm Bluetooth on my car phone at the moment, so I can't swap the radio.
You are a pendant, aren't you?
It actually sounds like you haven't quite plugged the cable in properly.
Geezer.
Yes, Just.
Can I just say, it's a great live story, by the way, but can I just say...
Don't stop that. Yes, he's come on and told us off. Don't tell the listeners off.
No, it's a joke. What I was going to say was, the other week this happened to me, you need to plug the turntable in properly. Somebody has come into that building before and messed around with the turntable. It's got something to do with the deck.
Hang on. If I do this, right, I've just done something. Has that changed? Has that fixed it?
Unless I drop the call, I can't tell you.
Right, drop the call. We'll call you back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
All right, we've got to do this. We have to do this. So the record player's not plugged in properly.
That's what it was the other week. Yeah, somebody came in and for some reason they're playing around with our deck. Leave the deck alone, guys.
Who would do such a thing?
I don't know. I can think of one person.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Shouty Chris has a solution.
Oh, hang on a second. Right, where's Chris? What line is Chris on?
Is it shout louder? Because I know Chris.
Chris.
Hiya, mate.
Well, let's not get too familiar, sir.
Morning, sir.
Yes.
I heard that this morning about 4:45 when I was going into work, so it's not in your studio.
Right, is it crackly? Don't shut up. Is it crackly now?
I'm on medium wave, so it's been fine.
Right, hang on a second. The fella that I just threatened to punch in the face. Stay there, Chris. Jamie.
Yes, mate.
Flippin' heck. I mean.
That's okay. I'm seeing you in Luton.
Oh, okay. Well, then you should have seen
in the front row. So when you want to have a little go, we'll have a little chat then.
Oh dear.
All right, Dwayne. You should have seen the first sentence that I sent you that I deleted. It wasn't the face.
Bring it on.
All right. Now, is it crackling now?
No, stop now, buddy.
Right. If I were to can you hear the radio?
Yes.
Is it crackling now?
No.
Is it crackling now?
No.
Is it crackling now?
No.
Well, then what's your problem, mate? What's your problem? What's your beef, Jamie?
Mate, I love it when you've had no sleep. It's brilliant.
Right, Jamie, Chris, thank you very much. Well, why are they telling me off? They must think I care.
You're an easy target, that's why.
They must think I care or something.
You know why, mate? You know why?
Go on.
Your name's above the door.
Dealey, we'll speak to you after this.
All right.
Cheers, my dude.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to sock it to. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. I can't tell you who to sock it to. If you want me to love you, maybe I will. Believe me, woman, it ain't no big deal. Oh, you need love now, just as bad as I do. Makes me no difference now who you give your thing to. Oh, it's your thing. Do what you wanna do. I can't tell you who to talk to. It's your thing. Do what you wanna do now. I can't tell you who to sock you to. All right. Lord have mercy. It's your thing. Do what you wanna do. I can't tell you who to sock it to. Hit me, man. It's your thing. Yeah, do what you wanna do. I can't tell who to sock it to. I'm not trying to run your life. I know you wanna do what's right. I'll give your love, girl, to whoever you choose. How can you lose with the stuff you use now? It's your thing. Do what you wanna do.
Okay, right. Well, hopefully that crackling has gone now. Don't phone up and tell me off, though, for crying out loud. 03459 455 555 is the phone number. Now, Dealey, the company to look after Hertfordshire's highways has been fined over £500,000 for not doing a good enough job. Ringway, guys, you'd change your name, wouldn't you? Ringway have been responsible for highways in the county since the end of 2012, but have been fined around £670,000 over the following 2 years. Why have they been fined, Justin?
Well, from what we understand, Ringway just haven't been doing some of the jobs that they should have been doing. Problems include failing to respond to requests to repair roads. I mean, these are simple things. Not gritting roads quickly enough, and even working without a road permit. Now, I should say that the County Council say this isn't a fine. They are withholding of funds for services that haven't been carried out. But that pretty much sounds like a fine to me. So let's go with that. The fines have been reduced over time. Now, the figures show they were fined just over £420,000. That was the financial year 2013-2014, but that has reduced to £250,000 for the following year.
And there have been problems before, haven't there, with Ringway?
Yeah, I mean, they've only been responsible for highways in Hertfordshire for, just under 3 years now. When they took over this contract, which was worth £35 million in October 2012.
Nearly what
it's a
I'm
lot
on.
of money.
That's incredible.
However, problems started within a year of them taking on the contract, with Ringway's bosses being brought before the council to answer questions on why they weren't performing basic tasks. Those included things like fixing streetlights or filling in manholes.
Oh, fill a manhole.
Yeah, I know that they apologised at the time, said they were working hard to rectify that. Well, 2 years on, problems have continued to arise. In the latest incident, the leader of the Liberal Democrat opposition, Stephen Giles Medhurst, he called for the company to sort itself out within 6 weeks or be sacked. And whilst he's pleased the council are taking some action against them, he's actually now starting to ask the question, at what point will they actually withdraw this contract and go with a different provider?
What options do the council have?
Well, if it was up to the Liberal Democrats, Ringway will be out of the job right now. However, it's not. It's up to a good friend of the programme, Terry Doris, and the Conservatives in charge at Herts County Council, and they haven't looked likely to make any such drastic changes yet. These fines show that they are holding them to account, you would say, to a certain degree, but when you consider the contract could potentially last up to a maximum of 12 years, it kind of begs the question, the residents in Hertfordshire, are they actually getting what they're paying for?
Justin, do you know what's inside a golf ball?
I've got absolutely no idea. How many of those little holes are on a golf ball?
None. There's no holes in it.
No, the little pins.
You mean the dimples?
Yeah, the pins. Yeah, little pin marks.
I tell you what, there's a project for you. Could you count them for us?
No.
I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't know. I'm going to say 362. Why not?
Have I got a hole in one?
No, I don't play golf. I'm considering that as though it's have I got a hole in one? Oh no, I've never played the game that involves getting a hole in one, so I haven't. Have you?
No, apparently it's a magical feeling though.
Do you want to take that to the street?
Well, have you ever got a hole in one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you getting gold with that.
Yeah, no worries.
Speak to you in a bit. Cheers, Josh.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
No significant delays I can see on the roads across the region so far this morning. There are some roadworks in Stevenage, though. Martin's Way has got a lane closed for some bridge work in both directions between Canterbury Way and the A602 Hitchin Road. Expect some delays through there. In St Albans, Redburn Road, that's got temporary traffic lights for telecom work around Hog End Lane, also likely to cause some delays. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much. You can call in about anything. 03459 455 555. We are. This is make or break, guys. If you don't buy it, then ITV4 will. We need a player for iPod Roulette. All you need is an MP3 player or a computer that you can set to shuffle. 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And power sharing in Northern Ireland is on the brink of collapse following the resignation of the First Minister Peter Robinson in a dispute about whether the IRA has been fully disbanded.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations. He said WADA must protect clean athletes after his wife categorically denied cheating. Premier League and Championship football resumes tomorrow. Watford hosts Swansea in the Premier League, having made several deadline day signings but having failed to score in their last 4 games. Skipper Troy Deeney has yet to score, but head coach Quique Flores isn't concerned for his skipper.
Yeah, I'm not worried with Deeney. It will be perfect for him to score because the strikers need to score to be completely happy. But Deeney is this kind of players who during the week, every single days they are giving all the best, so it's not a problem.
In the Championship, MK Dons go to Middlesbrough with manager Carl Robinson defending the inability to strengthen his squad with a new striker.
We have a budget to stick to, a sustainable budget, and a budget will keep this club here for many, many years. I know how hard it is here. I know the finances. I know what we have to do. It's a new football club trying to create sustainability within the city, and we've got to make sure that we stick together and do it the right way still.
In League 2, Wickham host Plymouth, Stevenage are at home to York, Luton go to Notts County with manager John Still juggling his squad.
If people are not playing, they're going to want to know why, so they should. It's good that sometimes you can tell them before they come to ask. Have a word with someone not in the team saying, this needs to be a little better, need to be a bit sharper, we need to be quicker here. But sometimes, early season, you might play someone that's not quite up to speed because he needs that game time, and that if you can get him up to speed, he's going to be a massive asset.
And England's cricketers face Australia in the 4th one-day international at Headingley today. The tourists lead the 5-match series 2-1. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Thank you, Simon.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Oh, I've just found a nice hollow bit in the floor. It's good, isn't it?
Very good.
Dennis!
Wagwan, gangster.
Wagwan, brethren. What happened?
I don't know.
Oh.
I was told to say that to you, but a nice young lady said, would I say that to you?
Come on, Den. You're hands up if you're an individual. You're a free-thinking human being.
I know, but
you don't have to do what she says.
Accept instruction from people who know better.
Okay.
What, Anne Kelly Betts?
Yes.
What you got for us, Den?
You were on about golf balls years and years and years ago when I was a kid. I hacked these things open.
Here we go.
And right at the centre, there was a little...
a tiny earth, and you could see yourself on there.
No,
There's a what?
It's a little rubber bag with some pasty stuff inside it. And then there was layers and layers of rubber bands, but not the sort of thing you put round papers. This was white stuff.
There was pasty stuff in there. Was it
in the middle? In the middle.
Is it? Here's the great mystery of all time. What the hell is silica gel?
Oh, that's just for keeping things dry.
Why can't we eat it? Well, why is it inside? Why is it in boxes?
To keep the moisture out so it doesn't go mouldy.
Well, what though? What goes mouldy in a box these days?
Everything. Have you ever put something in the garage and forgotten about it?
Well, not with silica gel.
Exactly.
Thank you. Well, I think golf balls have changed since then, Dennis.
I would expect so. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
technologically.
Is there anything? Let's rank balls. Would you like to compare balls, Dennis?
Well, mine are getting very ancient these days.
Is there anything harder in the world than a cricket ball? A cricket ball is the toughest material in the world. If you've ever caught a cricket ball, you catch a cricket ball once as a young man, and then you never do it again.
I've got a harder ball than that.
Yeah?
Your petanka.
What's a petanka?
A boule ball.
Oh,
you don't want one of those to the face.
I would say they're heavier.
They're made out of metal.
Yeah, but I think the cricket ball is harder than a petanka.
No.
Oh.
Nothing beats a petanka.
What do you reckon, Den?
Well, I don't know. The only ball I've had any trouble with was a hockey ball.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to mess with them.
Somebody smacked the hockey ball and hit me on the shin, and while I'm limping away, somebody stroked their bat right down the back of my leg as well. So I crawled off the bloody floor and I said, I'm never going to play hockey again.
No.
Were you not wearing shinnies?
No, this was a Royal Naval thing, Get out there and get knocked about.
We've got I don't know if Simon Oxley's listening, but we've got a text in for Simon. It's from Dave in Bedford. Can you stop the news reports? I'm sick of listening about Paula bloody Radcliffe. I don't think we can stop the news reports just because we need to get 10 people voting to stop the news reports before we stop the news reports. That's how it works here
Right
at
to
the BBC.
Ofcom. They'll do something
Yeah,
about
they'll do
it.
something about it. Well, Dennis, I really enjoyed that classic banter.
Right, well, can I ask you a question before you go?
You can.
Now then, what's happened to all these people coming through the tunnel from Cali?
Oh, we haven't got time. It's Rush Hour with Jane Weedlin. I'm so sorry. It's Jane Weedlin. I'm so sorry. It's Joan of Arc.
I think that is a ridiculous idea.
Watch it, sunshine. Watch it. Watch it. There's literally nothing in the papers. Oh no, I tell you what we've got actually. We've got we can do one of these. Hang on. Oh. Give me the sun. Give me the sun, Mum.
I'm not your mum.
There we go. Right.
Here we go.
Okay, so this is where we read a headline and you have to guess what the story is. Kelly Betts, great to have you back.
Thanks, player.
So here's the story. We're going to start with Kelly.
Thanks, player.
Is that wise?
Homo.
Oh.
Sorry?
That's a really bad idea starting with Kelly.
Homo Slackians. Homo Slackians.
Lazy people. Like Homo sapiens.
Oh.
You know, like the people.
Oh, I didn't know
Slackers.
you spoke Latin.
Yeah, I'm fluent.
You're do you know what? We stopped the clock there. She's absolutely correct. Humans are wired to be lazy by nervous systems geared to save energy, a study found. Imagine putting that in the newspaper.
Imagine doing that as a study.
But imagine coming up with a headline.
Mm.
You see?
It's a lot to imagine.
There's a lot of imagination going on, and that's the best way.
Here's the thing, what's in the paper. Do you want this? Oh, and a cow's foot to go, please.
Oh.
That's oh, and a cow's foot to go, please.
That sounds mysterious.
Yeah.
Oh, is it a game? Are we
You
playing?
can if you want.
Oh.
Go on, have a guess what it is.
A cow's foot to go. It's a McDonald's that's opened up in India, and they serve like all that weird foreign muck over there, like a cow's foot, because you can eat that stuff.
You can eat that stuff. You're half right.
Well-
Well, no, you're not even half right.
Give me a percentage.
Not in India.
Well, okay, all right, but it's a McDonald's in a foreign country.
No.
Calcutta?
Mm.
Do you know what they call Calcutta now?
Calcutta?
Do you know what they call? They
It's
call
the
it.
person that gets the shoe off.
Do you know what they call Calcutta now?
Kolkata.
It's true. Although that was a brave move to do the accent. Kolkata. It's like they call.
It's silly, right? Because
No.
we don't call Paris Paris. Why are we changing the names of places?
Well, we should call it Paris.
No,
and
we should call it Paris.
Oh yeah, and we should call it Newcastle.
Madrid.
Newcastle.
Newcastle is what you should call it.
Glasgow. We should say the names as they're pronounced. London.
All right. Well, I wish they'd just make a rule because I never know what to do. And when I was a newsreader, I never knew how to do that
You
one.
should do the place as it's written.
Scotland.
Huh?
Like that.
Scotland.
Why would you do that?
'Cause that's what?
But why did you do a Nigerian accent? That's the thing. Oh, go on then. Well, I'm right. So
Well, forget fish and chips. A rise in exotic takeaways.
I will not forget fish and chips, ever.
Well, the Daily Express is telling you to do it.
The Queen's 162 today, and she did it all on fish and chips and gin and fags.
You're 2/3 right.
Thank you.
We are now apparently grabbing... No, we're not. Grabbing sheep's head soup, char-grilled lamb's testicles, kangaroo haggis and cow's foot. Apparently the fastest growing takeaway, according to page 15 in the Daily Express, is Kurdish, which has seen a 20-fold increase in sales, from Nout.
Well, I wouldn't say it was.
Since last year.
I wouldn't say it was completely curd. I'd say it's Kurdish.
African and Mongolian dishes have seen a 12-fold rise, according to research. Who volunteered for that research?
What,
Delicacies
Africans and Mongolians?
and Kurds.
Well,
Delicacies increasingly found on menu boards up and down the land include African delights such as cow's foot cooked in spicy palm oil paste known as nkwobi, and gizzard with onion and pepper. Delicious.
I used to like Eddie Gizzard. He was funny until he became too self-aware. Ian, you are a racist, says Ian from Solihull.
Oh, no.
On the M40. You are a racist against your own people by cutting people off like that. He's talking about me cutting Dennis off. Jane Weedlin was starting to sing Rush Hour. I had no choice.
Well, we were talking about someone from different races.
We are just trying to protect our own culture, and you are not helping. Well, I know what, Ian. Why don't you jog on back to your own country?
Dennis loves being cut off. It's what he calls in for.
Yeah, it is.
Here's something that's not true. And we'll get to the lawyer and his ye-gads, she's hot daughter.
Should we do just news that's not true? We could do that.
Gigglebox.
Oh.
Watching again, this is from a poll, right? But it doesn't say who. Watching telly, coming over here doing our surveys. Watching telly together is a good way to ensure a happy family life. A poll of 2,000 parents says. Well, that's no. Surely, like I don't know.
Turning the telly off and talking to each other.
Talking, sitting down. That's a way to ensure like an easier life until it's bedtime, and then right, telly's off. No, one more.
Read him a book.
Surely sitting down and I don't know, playing a board game.
I mean, I know they're dull. I know kids are dull, but
Yeah.
humour them. They're not going to be around that long, and they'll be wiping your backside when you're old,
Kids
if you're lucky.
get right on mine. Right on mine.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Starting to build up now on the M25 going anti-clockwise. You'll find that heavy between junction 19 for Watford and junction 18, the turn for Chorleywood. Coming through the A1 heading towards London at Borehamwood, that's queuing between Holiday Inn and Stirling Corner. No problems I can see on the trains. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. 6:45, Friday the 11th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company, hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads, has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will debate today proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. Today is going to be a lovely day. We'll see plenty more in the way of sunshine. Blue skies really from the word go as well, not the same mist problems as we had yesterday because it's drier air. So lots of sunshine around, and that's the way it will tend to stay for the rest of the day too. A bit of patchy cloud around, quite breezy. It's a southeasterly wind, so a little bit cooler towards eastern areas of Hertfordshire than towards parts of Buckinghamshire. Here, I think we'll get up to around 22 degrees Celsius. Temperatures on a par with what we had yesterday, really, just about everywhere. So all in all, a lovely day, but we'll start to see some clouds spread in from the west as we head through this evening. That cloud is going to thicken overnight and eventually we'll get some spells of rain too. A mild night tonight, lows of 15 or 16 degrees, but it will be a rather wet start to the weekend, but not a write-off at all this weekend. We'll see plenty of dry weather around. By the time we get to Saturday afternoon, it will be dry again. There'll be plenty of sunny spells around too, and temperatures still pretty good actually, up to around 19 or 20 degrees Celsius. Then a dry but a rather cool night on Saturday into Sunday. Sunday it will be dry for most of the day. We could just see perhaps a few showers around at times, and there will be some more rain on Sunday night into Monday. Very, very unsettled next week, very wet and very windy at times, so enjoy the sunshine today. That's the forecast.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Even if you can't get to the match.
Already, we're hearing stories of Watford fans saying that they are going to...
I'll be honest, the football season starts tomorrow. I'm sick and tired of it already.
Feet and good skill and good vision.
You can still keep up to date with your local team with Three Counties.
Oh, no, I mean, really, can we not just have one more day's blessed peace from the hell that is... Thing is, football season starts tomorrow. Well, I hadn't noticed that football had gone away. In the old days, football would shut. Unless it was World Cup or something, football shut for the summer. There was no football.
There was a definite break between cricket and football.
Or Manchester would go and play in like Beijing or something, wouldn't they? Manchester would go to Beijing over there and they go...
Doing Liverpool tomorrow. My dad's going.
Sorry? You're doing all of Liverpool?
They're doing Liverpool tomorrow. They call it doing it.
I don't know.
They're doing a game. They're doing a match. Is it a match?
I've got literally no idea what you're talking about now.
Football, I think.
The thing about football is it is dull. All sports are dull. I know Justin's asking people bizarrely, have you ever got a hole in one? I don't think it's possible.
Well, it is, because there's a name for it, so they wouldn't have named it if it didn't happen.
Okay, there's a name for ghosts.
Yeah,
and they're not possible. They're not possible.
They're so real.
But I don't believe you can... Have you ever seen a hole in one? The thing is, right, because the hole is like 367 yards away from where you start, okay?
Is that a fact, or are you just bringing those stats out of your...
That's a fact. There's a hole in one. Fact. You can't see that far.
No.
So how do you know?
It's a massive fluke.
How do you know that a fella hasn't just gone and popped a ball in for you, or a ball has been? How do you know you've got a hole in one? I don't believe it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Don't know. Doesn't someone normally move the flag out of the way? He would know, wouldn't he?
Do you trust this guy? That's your caddy. He's in your employ.
Oh yeah.
Up and battered around, been sent up and I've been shut down. You're the best thing that I've ever found. Handle me with care.
What are you beefing on about?
Reputation's changeable, situation's tolerable, but baby you're adorable. Somebody to lean on. Put your body next to mine and dream on. I've been bobbed off and I've been fooled. I've been robbed and ridiculed in daycare centers and night schools. Handle me with care.
Did we get a word in Edgware here?
Iain is furious on the texts.
Why didn't he ring up then?
Because I don't know why. When we have a civil war in a few years, I'll think of you and all the do-gooders. Blimey. That feels like a threat. I mean, they just...
But do-gooders sound so nice.
Crackling back when the music's playing, but clear when speaking.
Well, you know why.
I think we understand. Although it could be that fader. I don't know. And can you play a really long song so I can leave the radio to make a cup of tea? The hardest ball must be a shot put ball. I wouldn't count that as a ball.
No, that's more of
Well, it's a ball, isn't it? But I wouldn't like a medicine ball dropped on my balls. Okay.
No, I wouldn't. And I don't have any.
No, 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Have you found anything in the papers? Because they're pretty dull today.
This is one of those, aren't people funny stories, right?
No.
You know when you're celebrating something, or someone you like, but you don't really know their tastes is celebrating something, you think, I'll put a few quid in an envelope.
Yeah.
A royal fan who sent the Queen 50 quid to celebrate our longest reigning monarch got a thank you letter and his money back.
Oh.
David Vaz, 43, who told the Queen to treat herself to your favourite cup of tea. What, 50 quid?
London prices.
Gold tea. It's like a dream come true. A lady in waiting wrote to the minicab controller from Romford, Essex, that the Queen had been most touched, but couldn't accept cash gifts. She added, I'm returning the note and your gesture is greatly appreciated. Who would send the Queen money? The one thing she doesn't need.
A flipping nut job. That's who would send the Queen money.
I'd send her a voucher for a massage. She needs a bit of free time.
Spa. That's got to be the worst present.
No, it's brilliant.
No.
I never used to understand it, right? When I was a kid, I used to think, I fancy buying mum's soap and like a day where someone else soaping her. Brilliant. Brilliant. It's not the soap you're buying her or the spa day. It's the time to enjoy soaping up.
Sorry?
Time.
I switched off a bit there and came
Soaping
back
up.
just at the end of the conversation. So there's someone charging bung me £5,000 to meet Andy Burnham. Why would you want to pay that? I'd pay you £5,000 to never meet Andy Burnham. Why would you want to meet the waxwork? I don't understand. He's not even in power.
I guess they think he will be of influence in the future.
Well, he won't be. He can't even influence his own eyebrows. Andy Burnham was caught up in a cash for access row last night after meeting an undercover Sun reporter who paid a fixer £5,000
Oh,
towards
hang on
his...
a minute. So the Sun offered someone some money. That's different, isn't it?
And then there's a picture of Andy Burnham. Burnham swigs lager at meeting.
It's allowed, isn't it?
Have they decided that it's Jeremy Corbyn yet, or do we still have to...
We have to wait. The voting's been done, so we find out.
Oh, it's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. I can't wait. I can wait. I've got to
Hey,
wait. Yeah,
things
go on.
not to call your cat if you want it to survive.
Yes.
Squishy.
Oh.
But this woman is very clever. Well, she watches Holby City.
Oh, yeah.
And so
well, she's not that clever. She watches Holby City.
Well, hang on a minute, because she watches it and she also learns from it. It's also educational, turns out, Holby City, because Squishy, I can't find the story now. Anyway, Squishy came a cropper and needed CPR, and she managed to breathe new life into the little kitten because of Holby City. Kim Tucker, 45, found 14-week-old Squishy caught by her collar on an arrow.
An arrow?
Yeah.
I'm not your stepping stone. I'm not your stepping stone. You're trying to make your mark in society. You're using all the tricks that you used on me. You're reading all them high-fashion magazines. The clothes you're wearing, girl, are causing public scenes. I said, I'm not your stepping stone. I'm not your stepping stone. No! Not your stepping stone. Not your stepping stone. I'm not your stepping stone. When I first met your girl, you didn't have no shoes, but now you're walking around like your front page news. You've been awful careful about the friends you choose, but you won't find my name in your book of who's who's. I said, I'm not your stepping stone. No, girl, not me. I'm not your stepping stone. Not your stepping stone. I'm not your stepping stone. your stepping stone. No, girl, I'm not your stepping stone. Not your stepping stone.
We need a contestant for iPod Roulette, otherwise it's Grumpy Jamie, and we've already his dour attitude has already impacted negatively upon the performance of the show this morning, I would suggest. Would you not agree with that?
I like his dour attitude, but I'm northern.
He sounds gutted. He's always just gutted. That's the thing. If anyone was... Well, so we've got him. He's our standby. He's our fullback, OK? But if somebody else wants to take part, then 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call very quickly. So the sexy lawyer man and the sexy lady lawyer who are embroiled in shenanigans.
There's a lot of tension there.
Well, now it turns out he's a sexual deviant. There's a picture of his daughter pumping off, right?
Yeah.
And he's posted on it's on Facebook, and he's written, "Ye gods, she's hot."
He does say, "I know I'm not supposed to encourage lascivious comments about my own daughter, but
ye gods, she's hot."
That's like when he said, "I know this is incredibly politically incorrect, but you are
ye gods, she's hot."
Smoking.
He actually says, "Ye gods, she's hot." I'm not more concerned, not the fact he's saying that his daughter is... I haven't got daughters. I'd imagine that's a weird thing to say about daughters.
Maybe she'd just been for a run.
No, she hadn't. She was taking a picture of herself so that people would say, "Ye gods, you're hot," but maybe not your dad.
Not your dad.
Gym selfies. I mean, that is the epitome of self-love, isn't it?
Well, I would never take a gym selfie. It would be far too distressing for everybody involved. 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 going anti-clockwise, looking heavy between junction 19 for Watford and 18 for Chorleywood. Also heavy on the North Orbital Road, busy coming onto the M25 at junction 21A. The A1 building up coming towards London between Holiday Inn and Stirling Corner through Boreham Wood. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. Does a hole-in-one actually exist as a thing? I really don't buy this. I think it's lies. I just think how can it be a real thing? The ball is tiny, the hole is not much bigger, and it's 367 yards away. Have you ever got a hole-in-one? I mean, it just... Golfers really seem to be battling against statistics because more golfers get struck by lightning as well. I don't trust these golfers. I think that's something very, very suspicious out there.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: Watford Mayor says people want assurances about town's hospital. Hertfordshire Roads firm fined over £500,000, and fireworks display back on in Luton.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. West Herts NHS Trust has responsibility for hospitals in Watford, Hemel Hempstead and St Albans, and was given an overall rating of inadequate by the Care Quality Commission. More from Ollie Bayliss.
The Mayor of Watford, Dorothy Thornhill, says people are understandably concerned about the level of care they will receive at the hospital. It's now been put into special measures following the report, which said it needed to make a number of improvements to its care. We're yet to hear from the Chief Executive as to what improvements will be made.
The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. Ringway was fined around £670,000 over the last 2 years for failing to respond to repair requests, not gritting roads quickly enough and working without a road permit. Power sharing in Northern Ireland is on the brink of collapse following the resignation of the First Minister, Peter Robinson, and most other DUP ministers. Unionists and Republicans are in dispute about whether the IRA has been fully disbanded. A coach driver from Hertfordshire who fell asleep at the wheel while taking school children on a trip will be sentenced today. 23-year-old Ross Ogilvie has already pleaded guilty to dangerous driving. More from Carol Abercrombie.
The coach from Richmond Coaches, based in the Hertfordshire village of Barley, was among a convoy taking school children from Cambridgeshire to Hunstanton, but it left the A10 at Hilgey in Norfolk and crashed into a ditch. Ogilvie had to be cut free, but the 42 children and teachers on board escaped with only minor injuries. Ogilvie from Heathfield in Royston no longer works for the company.
Extra police patrols are being carried out in Fishermead in Milton Keynes to reassure the public after a woman suffered serious stab injuries at a house on the estate on Wednesday night. The woman in her 30s is in a critical condition in hospital. A 38-year-old man has been arrested. Police say they were known to each other. MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. The private member's bill would allow doctors to prescribe a lethal dose to people thought to have less than 6 months to live and who have asked to be helped to die. After a 2-year absence, Luton's firework display will be returning in November. Luton Borough Council had cancelled the event at Pope's Meadow because of cutbacks, but Sean Timoney, Labour's deputy leader of the council, says sponsorship from Luton Airport means it can go ahead.
We had to make difficult decisions, and I'm just really, really pleased that we've got some sponsorship. I really want to thank Lau. It's what people want, and we're going to have a great night there, so I hope loads of people come along and enjoy that.
In sport, Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations. The weather bright and breezy with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you very much, Simon. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. We think the crackle's gone. We were playing records, so the music would have been at least slightly crackly. iPod roulette at 7:30. Dealey's out asking if you ever got a hole in one. 03459 455 555 is the phone number.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's no Texas of...
Yeah, there's loads of Texas.
There's plenty of Texas. Let's get those guys.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
Can you talk about the chocolate digestive complaint letter sent to Aldi and then their response from Harry and Nikki?
I don't know what that means.
I'll look it up. We'll find out.
Or they could phone in and tell us.
Yeah, do that. 03459 455 555.
Yeah.
My missus must be a fantastic golfer.
No. Every time she puts her tights on, she gets a hole in one. When I said Texas, I meant good ones.
Know them.
That should have been flagged up to you because it says Disco Dave at the end of it.
I know, but Disco Dave sometimes tells us about... no, you're right, actually.
For all of my time here at BBC Three Counties Radio, I don't remember Disco Dave ever sending in one valid text.
Well, I live in hope.
Keep
one
giving
day.
them a chance. One day. Right. Thank you, Dave. Now, yesterday it was announced that Watford, Hemel Hempstead and St Albans hospitals have been placed in special measures. This morning, there are calls for more clarity from the trust that runs them. West Herts Hospitals held a media briefing before the publication of what turned out to be a damning report by the CQC. They've been unavailable for comment ever since, but have been tweeting furiously just how good their hospitals are. Dorothy Thornhill is the Mayor of Watford. Morning, Dorothy.
Good morning, Ian.
Are you surprised by this report?
Shocked at how bad it was, but certainly not surprised, no.
Why not? Had you had personal experience, or had the people that told you that they'd been unhappy with their experience at Watford Hospital?
The main reason, Ian, and you'll remember from your show, is the issues that we've had about the health campus in Watford.
Oh, yeah.
And the allotment holders. So if you like, we've been trying to work for 10 years with the Trust to actually get them to tell us what their future needs are on the site. And, whilst they've constantly said, yes, this is part of the solution, we've not been able to get out of them, look, we actually want to build a new maternity unit bank there on the allotment side. And, of course, that then revealed to us through things that we found out that the management is just to be blunt, it's just not good enough.
Well, that was one of the things that was highlighted, wasn't it, by the CQC, that the leadership was, I think it was inadequate.
Yes, absolutely. And I really believe that, and I think it's been over some considerable time. And so once you get cultures like that, it becomes endemic in an organisation. But it was good to note because, let's be fair, there'll be lots of your listeners who, hundreds of people who actually work their socks off at all three hospitals. And, this is going to really sap their morale. And they do their best. In fact, one of the comments was that most staff that they saw, they judged to be caring, compassionate and kind. And in particular, services for children and young people. Well, in Watford, it was the only aspect that was good.
People will be worried, won't they, if they're going to hospital or someone they know is going to hospital soon. They would, I guess, rightly be concerned.
Well, they'll be more concerned when, according to government rules, and be interested in your take on this, they actually have to put notices up at the entrances of every single site of all the hospitals, basically saying this is a bad hospital.
Oh, blimey.
Oh, absolutely. Now, how does that make you feel, and how does that make those staff feel? I just don't see the point of that. I don't know how that is helping three hospitals to get themselves out of a great big mess.
Have you spoken to anyone? Because we have a great difficulty speaking to anyone from West Herts at all. And their PR machine yesterday, they spent all afternoon tweeting how great the hospitals are. They even had time to make a little promo video.
I'm actually quite surprised by that, and I think that's not appropriate behaviour. But are they communicative with me? Yes, they are. I have to be honest about that. I've had a good talk to they've got a new interim chief executive, and of course this is the problem. Their last chief executive, who was with us for 2 years, seemed to be an absolutely bright, competent person. She actually won the award of Chief Executive of the Year. And then got whisked off to NHS England to do some whizzy smashing job in Westminster. So we're with an interim chief now. And the good thing is the CQC, the Quality Care Commission, have recognised that she has got a grasp of the situation and is trying to turn things round. But she's interim. She's been asked to stay longer, and she's agreed, thankfully. But, then we'll roll on to try and find a new chief executive who's actually willing to take on something that really is as challenging as this trust.
Is there the money to do these improvements?
I asked that. That was one of my questions, because when I inherited Watford Council from Labour, we actually inherited a bad lot, as they say, and we did get real support, both physical capacity of people, which you always need, and cash. And apparently that's not the same. They get some support. Certainly they don't, given that a lot of problems can be traced back to finance. They don't appear to be getting the support that I believe they'll need to pull them out of a hole as deep as this one.
Dorothy, let's keep our fingers crossed, and I'm sure we'll be speaking about it again soon. Thanks for your time.
But the important thing is the staff at the coalface were caring, compassionate and kind.
That's an excellent thing to highlight. Dorothy Thornhill, Mayor of Watford, thank you very much indeed.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now the texts are coming in. Now we're getting... By the way, Kelly, great to have you back.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ben.
You are welcome, my darling.
I am.
And can I just say you're looking lovely this morning? Is that sexy for me to say that? Is it sexy for me to say it?
What did you say?
Very sexy.
I said she looked fit. Is that sexy? I just want to get linked in with her. I want to link in with you.
Go on then.
Dear LinkedIn, please stop emailing me. I sniffed around you once 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That was it. I realised you weren't for me. Please stop emailing me.
I've actually closed my account, but still it appears that people are looking at my profile.
You can't close the account. I closed my account, and you can't close it. It's always there, and people will always continually invite you to join LinkedIn.
Did it get you a new job? No.
I feel sorry for Tom from MySpace. I think he's.
I used to like him.
I think he's living under a bridge somewhere, drinking.
Drinking.
Drinking. Ollie says, I went fishing last night.
Good for you.
And I watched Tony Jacklin achieve a hole-in-one shot on the BBC's coverage of whatever match. Are you saying the BBC deceived us? Shock horror, Helen Milton Keynes.
Is that what you're saying, Ian?
Yeah, I am. The BBC lies to you. Look at our history. It's full of lies. This is a lie.
Who went fishing?
Ollie.
Shall I call him back?
Yeah, well, I see.
See if
why
he
not?
caught a big
Shall
one.
I?
Why not?
What do you reckon he caught?
Did he get a hole-in-one?
Yeah.
Did he get a chub?
Yeah.
Can't think. Did he dangle his maggot?
Yeah.
I went fishing. I used to go fishing with my dad years ago, and then I realised it's a really boring thing.
I always wanted to go fishing. No one would take me.
It's boring. Just go now. Just
I'm
go.
a bit busy.
Not that,
Only
I
a
mean,
bit busy.
Let's be honest. It's not. It's. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 10 today so far. Oh, we're all tired. It's fine. It's laid back Fridays. Call them laid back Fridays. And that's the respectful way that Kelly speaks to our callers. Ollie, what's this about fishing?
He's on fader too.
Let's see if he caught a chub.
This is a big. So Ollie.
Yeah, hello there.
Hello there. Did you get your maggot out last night?
No, I don't give a damn. I'll get my maggot out whenever I want.
Did you get a chub?
I did. Only a small one.
Did you throw it back or did you keep it for a long
no,
time?
I put it back.
Good.
Why did you really go fishing last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, honest.
Okay, so the question is, what for?
Fish.
I know,
I went
but
fishing for perch.
perch.
Now perch are you can't eat perch, can you?
No.
So again, this is the...
So again, what for?
Just see if I can catch a bigger one than me mate.
Did your mate go with you?
Yes, he did.
Right. Did you take lagers or cigarettes with you?
Both.
There we go. You see, you went to go and get boozed up.
Why don't you just go to the pub?
You went and did an Afro Man because he got high, because he got high, because he got. You just went for a booze up.
It was a nice day, so we thought let's go down the river, couple of beers, bit of fishing.
Yeah.
Not much better than that.
Well, that sounds like the last time I went fishing, and I was 11, and it was my dad, and it's weird. And you get the bowl of maggots. You get the tub of maggots with the holes in the lid. Yeah. Okay, so you don't kill the maggots, but then you're going to pierce them. And at the end of the day, and I was a very clumsy child. It wasn't until I got into my early 30s I learned how to control this magnificent beast of a body. But when I was about 10, 11, don't laugh that much, Ollie. When I was about 10 or 11, I was really clumsy and awkward. And at the end of the fishing experience, you got all the maggots, and as a treat for the fish for being so good, you toss the maggots into the river, right? And so I had the maggots, and I went to toss them, but because I was so clumsy and awkward, my arm just went all the way back round, and it swung round, and the maggots fell on my head.
Oh.
All of the maggots on my head. I remember there were some hard lads on the other side of the river. That was obviously the funniest thing they'd ever seen in their life. It was.
They were on the other side.
They were on the other side. But my dad laughed. And my dad went to the lads on the other side. He went, "Hey, what an idiot, eh?"
You know when you stick them on the hook?
Yes.
Do you suck the end first?
Of the maggot?
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere.
You're supposed to suck maggots.
Well, if it's cold, you can do that to warm them up, but I don't.
No, so you're not really you're not really hardcore fisherman. If you're not going to suck a maggot by the riverbank, then...
Well, there's not really much point, because when you put a hook in them, they usually wiggle about a bit anyway.
That'll wake them up.
When you going fishing next?
Probably Monday or Tuesday.
Jeez, you're obsessed with it, man. You know they sell fish in shops these days.
Well, no, it's different to that.
Keep us posted, Ollie.
Ollie, let us know how your fishing experience goes. You are now officially our official fishing correspondent.
And next time you see a maggot, give me a promise. Give it a good suck.
Okay.
Cheers, Ollie. Ta-ta. Thank you.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the northbound M40, there's a lane blocked on the exit slip road to the M25. That's because of an accident at junction 1A there. On the M25, anti-clockwise, heavy between junction 19 for Watford and 18 for Chorleywood. Building up also anti-clockwise around junction 16 for the M40. Bricket Wood on the North Orbital Road, you'll find that busy around junction 21A of the M25. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Tom. 7:16, Friday the 11th September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company, hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads, has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales.
Every Saturday, Three Counties Sport brings you the best coverage of your local team.
You'll find out the team news first. Just a one change for Watford this afternoon. Alman Abdi comes into the starting lineup.
Hear how the managers are preparing.
It's a fixture that we shouldn't be frightened of. We're playing at home and we need to go out there and perform to the best of our capabilities.
And then it's down to business.
And MK Dons have got their first goal.
Tomorrow we'll bring you uninterrupted commentary on Watford,
MK Dons, Luton and Stevenage.
Beautiful football from Luton Town. The best football of the game so far.
Three Counties Sport.
Tomorrow from 2
here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Dig it, guys. The company contracted to look after Hertfordshire's highways has been fined over £500,000 for not doing a good enough job. Ringway receives around £35 million a year to make... £35 million a year? You're nodding.
I'm nodding because yes, it sounds extraordinary.
£35 million a year?
Let me double check.
That can't be. Well, let's assume it is for the moment, but that can't... A year. That's got to be over the whole contract, surely.
£35 million a year contract to provide highway services, including all aspects of road and footway maintenance and improvement, street lighting and winter service.
And Catherine wanders off into the distance, happy to know that that's a fact. Wow. However, over the last 2 years, Herts County Council has been forced to withhold over £670,000 for failing to respond to repairs or leaving it too late to grit the roads. Well, Councillor Stephen Giles Medhurst is leader of the Liberal Democrat opposition at Herts County Council. Blimey, they get paid enough, don't they, Stephen?
They do indeed, and they're not performing, and that's the bottom line.
So what aren't they doing?
They're not getting the road permits to do the work on the dates they're doing. They're not performing the work on time, and there's poor performance in terms of their pothole repairs and street repairs. And we've already had a problem with them earlier in the year, as you may recall, when between October and June they'd failed to fix tens of thousands of street lights, which they weren't fined for, but it took them nearly 6 months to get their act in order for that.
So when you obviously kick up a stink and say, come on, Ringway's rubbish, what do the other councillors say?
Well, the Conservatives are the majority on the county council. They seem to be content with what Ringway are doing by and large. We have made a big issue about their contractors. There's now going to be a scrutiny review early in October. But at the end of the day, they have the majority on the county council and they can keep with this contractor. I'd rather we paid them and they were doing the job. They should do it on time, to the right quality, to the satisfaction of all residents.
The council are taking a tougher stance, though, with these fines, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they are. I mean, it's quite right they're fined for the work they haven't done, but I'd rather there were no fines and they did the job and we didn't get the complaints we are getting from residents about poor quality work or roads being dug up when they shouldn't be.
The thing is £670,000, it sounds a lot, but you take that out of £35 million, it's barely scraping their pockets, is it?
I agree, but there will be other penalties involved which aren't financial, where they've been hauled over the coals. I know Terry Juris, who you'll be speaking to later, will say they've had weekly meetings about the street lightings with them and read the riot act to them. Well, really, should we be having to do that with a major contractor?
No, you would kind of think you're paying them that much dosh. They'll do it. Why do you think the council don't just sack them off?
Well, there is a contractual relationship for 7 years. There are termination clauses involved within that, and also it's find another contractor that will do the work. I mean, it is a competitive market out there, whether we like it or not, but I have to say I do believe quality performance has slipped badly with Ringway.
I mean, in the great scheme of things, Stephen, are you just stirring, because that's your job in the opposition? That's kind of what you have to do. You have to question and you have to pick holes in the other team. Is it really that big a deal?
It is a big deal. If you've got a pothole outside your road, you've reported, Ringway come along, fail to do the job properly, the resident gets on to the council like myself or my colleagues and say, what the hell's going on here? I'm paying my council tax. It's $2,000 a year and you're not doing the job. It's an issue for that resident, and therefore any of these failures are an issue.
Stephen, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much indeed. Councillor Stephen Giles Medhurst, leader of the Liberal Democrat opposition at Herts County Council.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
So now we'd be going to the papers and looking at... Oh, no, I tell you what is
I found that
exciting.
story that they're asking for,
Oh, the
the
chocolate
biscuit one. Do you want to hear it?
Ah.
I mean, I half think that this is just a nice bit of puff for Aldi, but...
By the way, Aldi have bought the front page of The Sun today. Have you seen it? I hate it when but how can you just buy the front page? Well, it's The Sun. I'm sure you could buy any page in The Sun if you wanted. Oh, but that you can just buy the front page of a newspaper. That seems weird to me.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit dishonest. Anyway, go on.
Right, so this is from the Daily Express's website. This man's hilarious exchange with Aldi about a plain digestive found in his chocolate packet really takes the biscuit.
Oh.
Darryl Riley's dream morning cup of tea turned into a nightmare. That's
Darryl
in
Riley
quotes,
should get a life.
when he discovered a plain biscuit in his packet of own brand chocolate digestives. I always like it when you find freak food.
Oh, I like it when you get a Kit Kat
A solid
chunky
one.
that's just solid.
Oh, yeah.
A solid, that is pucker. That's what life's all about.
Or a Haribo ring that's not got a hole in it.
Oi.
Oi, that's an extra. The biscuit fan took to Facebook for a hilarious showdown, well, we'll be the judge of that, with the supermarket, with Aldi fighting back in side-splitting fashion. Right, so this is what the bloke
Already
wrote.
I hate everybody involved in this story.
Right, OK, well, this is what Darryl Riley wrote.
You tell me what Darryl Riley wrote while I look for the Daily Mirror.
I have a complaint that I wish to make. This morning I woke up, as I usually do. Yeah, that's called being alive.
Good start.
And I went downstairs to make my morning cup of tea. I used 2 of your finest tea bags for added strength and 1 spoon of sugar for a small bit of sweetness. The sugar was from Tesco, but surely you can't begrudge me that. And then a drop of milk, purchased at Aldi. Then I went to a cupboard and whipped out a cheeky packet of your milk chocolate digestive biscuits. 3 biscuits into it. My dream cuppa had been turned into a nightmare. Boom! Out of the chocolate digestive packet came a chocolate digestive with no chocolate.
What the heck? Suddenly I'm back in the room.
A very plain chocolate digestive biscuit, in my opinion. I could not believe my eyes. Never in all my life have I been left in such a biscuit predicament. What did I do next? Well, first I considered eating it, but then decided against it because, let's be honest, a plain digestive biscuit will never tantalise the taste buds in the same way as a chocolate digestive can. I've never heard of a foodgasm caused by plain chocolate digestive. So, having ruined my morning cuppa, I do eagerly anticipate your response. Regards. Aldi wrote back, "Hi Darryl, wow, busy morning. We're sorry you were disappointed with the surprise addition to your pack of chocolate biscuits, but we wouldn't consider it a nightmare. The plain digestive is not something to be shunned, but celebrated. Look at it sitting there in plain sight, confident, not having to hide away from behind its chocolate friend." Wow. We think ordinary things are special too. No traffic in the mornings, finding an errant £5 in your pocket, or a freshly made bed are all ordinary things, but all things, we're sure you'll agree, that raise a smile, not cause a frown. But how do we move on from this, Darryl? You'll be delighted to hear we're pretty easygoing and never want our shoppers to be disappointed with our products. So please private message us with your contact details so we can send you a new packet and a bag of sugar.
Stop!
It's the end.
It's the end of my life as we know it, and I do not feel fine to misquote Mr. Michael Stipington.
Anyway, freak food, I think it's fun.
30 ways to make... the 30 secrets to a happy family... By the way, how are we doing for players for
We've got
iPod
we've
Roulette?
got Ribena Rosie, but we've had her for about 4 weeks.
So we only need one more?
Yeah.
That's not bad. We've got Jamie as a backup.
Yeah, he's on the subs bench.
He's on the subs bench.
In
So
fact,
he stays there.
he's running up and down in his tracksuit as we speak.
But he sounds very disgruntled by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Gutted. 03459 455 555. So, the 30 secrets to a happy family life.
30?
30.
Oh, do you know what? I give up.
Having a cleaner.
Yes.
Basically, I'm looking at this and it's being middle class. Is what you need to be a happier family. Be middle class. 20 days holiday from work per year. Well, that's what I get. That's not very much. That's 4 weeks.
Can you spend them alone? Because that would make me happy.
Having a weekly family takeaway. It's all about the dollar. So
Yeah.
I've done got the dollar.
Do you know what it sounds like it's about? Lazy mums. Like me. Get a cleaner, have a Domino's once a week. Boom. Happiness.
Having a good school nearby for the children.
Yes.
Having a garden. Basically having dollar. If you've got dollar and you're middle
I have
class.
none of the things that you've just mentioned.
We don't have a family either. So keep it that way.
Well, I mean, I've got parents.
They're not your family.
Oh.
Sorry, I should have told you that. I'm sorry, they emailed me. Sorry.
Okay.
But that's you've heard the worst bit. We'll explain the rest later on.
Great, thanks.
You okay?
Having for God, this is. I mean, how nauseating is this? There we go. Having shared interests or hobbies. Au contraire.
No, I want him out from under my feet.
Having opposite hobbies. So, for example, if you like,
I'm interested in sleeping.
then I like caving. Having a dog, trust me, that don't make things better.
No, I'm not allowed one.
Oh,
That's caused a lot
I've
of.
got one of those.
That's caused fights in my family.
Having
I want one, he won't let me have
having
one.
a spare room,
No, I've not got one.
enjoying regular mini breaks. Where's they getting all this money from? When it comes to having a contented household, some of the simple things in life are what matter. Well, where's that list? Because the one I'm reading is the complicated things in life.
And do you know what I'm hearing? Marry for money. I made the major mistake going for hot looks.
Regularly eating together, watching TV and films with each other, and having no secrets are among the key things that bring families happiness, research has revealed. Enjoying time together tops the list of 30 factors.
No, if you enjoy time together, that means you're a happy family.
Having a garden is second, and a balanced home-work life is third. Parents sharing chores and and not arguing in front of the children also ranks highly. The kids like a good ding-dong between mummy and daddy.
Depends who wins.
We still love each other, but right now I could blooming murder her.
Duck!
Probably inappropriate to say that to a 3-year-old, but psychotherapist Glenn Mason said, "There is this myth that money can bring happiness. It's far from the truth."
Hang on, that's what you just said to us.
This whole list is about money. Yes, it can help pay the bills, but the reality is, the more money we have, the more we often live beyond our dreams.
What, like with regular mini breaks?
He added,
A cleaner?
"Family meals are a great way to connect with each other and find out how each other's days have been. Life is busy, but we need to take time out for each other."
How do you know he speaks like that?
I go by the name. I always judge the voice by the name, and that's Glenn Mason.
I thought he had written it.
Life coach and author Rashid Ongularu
Don't.
said... Just weighing it up in his head.
Don't.
Not going to.
He said something wise.
I think Rashid's a woman's name.
No, that's Rashida.
This points to something... Got the same voice as Glenn. Oh, that's good. This points to something many forget. That happiness comes from appreciating the things you have rather than the blind pursuit of things you perceive that you lack. There's much to be said about the adage that the best things in life are three. Let's go
Not
through
mini breaks.
Let's go through the
Not
three
gardens.
things in this life: a cleaner, a weekly date night, owning more than one car, a garage, mini breaks, having a spare 2 family days. They all cost money.
This couple are never in.
Unbelievable.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the northbound M40, it's queuing after an accident that's now been moved onto the hard shoulder just before junction 1A. That's the M25. A couple of cars collided at the start of the exit to the M25. It was completely blocked for a few moments. On the M25, going anti-clockwise, heavy between junction 19 for Watford and 18 for Chorleywood. Cheshunt on the A10 coming south, they're about slow between the New River Trading Estate and the M25 at Enfield. And Bromham Road, the A4280, are looking busy between the Branston Way and Ashburnham Road. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. Coming up, iPod Roulette. If you want to make sure it's not Grumpy Jamie, you need to dial now 03459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts, and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations. He said WADA must protect clean athletes after his wife categorically denied cheating. Premier League and Championship football resumes tomorrow. Watford hosts Swansea in the Premier League, having made several deadline day signings but having failed to score in their last 4 games. Skipper Troy Deeney is yet to find the net, but head coach Quique Flores isn't concerned for his skipper.
Yeah, I'm not worried with Dini. It will be perfect for him to score because the strikers need to score to be completely happy. But Dini is this kind of players who during the week, every single day, they are giving all the best, so it's not a problem.
In the Championship, MK Dons go to Middlesbrough with manager Carl Robinson defending the inability to strengthen his squad with a new striker.
We have a budget to stick to, a sustainable budget, and a budget will keep this club here for many, many years. I know how hard it is here. I know the finances. I know what we have to do. It's a new football club trying to create sustainability within the city, and we've got to make sure that we stick together and do it the right way still.
In League Two, Wickham host Plymouth, Stevenage return to York, Luton go to Notts County with manager John Still juggling his squad.
If people are not playing, they're going to want to know why, so they should. It's good that sometimes you can tell them before they come to ask. Have a word with someone not in the team saying, you know, this needs to be a little better, need to be a bit sharper, we need to be quicker here. But sometimes, early season, you might play someone that's not quite up to speed because you know he needs that game time, and you know that if you can get him up to speed, he's going to be a massive asset.
And England's cricketers face Australia in the fourth one-day international at Headingley today. The tourists lead the 5-match series 2-1. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, the next full bulletin at 8.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine, I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo. But somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teague's, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
iPod roulette, guys, and it's the last time. It's the last time. Oh, hang on, what's going on? Oh, that's the mums and the papas always come in after that. It's the last time, guys. It's the last time.
Well, look, we've not found someone else to play against Rosie and Redbourne on exactly the same terms, but I'm sure she won't mind.
Okay, well, let's go through this step by step. First of all, a celebrity guest judge, one of the greatest singers of all time. Let's not mince words. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome from the Temptations, it's Mr. Clem Curtis. Good morning, Clem.
Good morning, Ian. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Clem. How are you, fella? You all right?
I'm fine, yeah.
When was the last time you did a rock and roll concert?
Last month.
Really?
Yeah.
You must. Shouldn't you be at home resting now? You guys have worked hard. You don't need to do this anymore, do you?
I don't need to do it. I like doing it.
Do you still get the buzz from it?
Yes, very much.
And do you? Let's be honest, Clem. Do you still get the hot women screaming and looking at you adoringly?
No.
Because I did a live show last night. It was in Brighton, so I best of both worlds. But I had people of all genders looking up at me adoringly, and I was in a small, and I just got a feeling of what it was like to be a pop star.
No, I used to, but now I still get admired.
Okay, so you still like it. Do you do a little vocal warm up before you start the gig just to keep the tool in shape?
No.
You just go out there and do it.
Yes, I just go out and do it.
Okay. Well, if I asked you to sing this morning, would you say yes or would you say no?
No.
Thank you very much indeed. Okay, we've not crossed his palm with silver, and you've got to respect that. Clem, stay there. We've got our reigning champion. It's Ribena Rosie. Welcome back, Ribena Rosie.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello.
He's working it. He's working it. He's twinkling at her. Ribena, you've won this. I think it's literally. I just need to check my stats. Hang on. You've won this every week for the last 6 years. This is the last time we're doing it on this show, he said, leaving a little bit open for maybe doing it if another show popped up at the weekends.
Let's look at why, right? This
Yeah.
isn't actually your iPod, is it, we're playing with, that you've been winning with for all these time?
No, that's fair enough. That's only because my iPod just has work songs for toddlers.
Well, I think that could still win, based on what we've heard before. But also, we're putting you up against someone who hasn't even got an iPod.
Well, this is we really are. I mean, the BBC is under real scrutiny at the moment for all kinds of shenanigans, and this is probably ranks up there as one of the worst. Peter's in Walmer Green. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
Now you're going to play iPod roulette. Can I ask you your iPod? What's its gigabyte?
I haven't got an iPod.
Excuse me?
I've got old LPs.
Right. And how?
Oh, I think that's cheating.
Well, he's going to randomly fan through them.
Because it has. This has to be at Okay. What kind of music do you listen to, Peter?
Well, I've pulled one out now. One of the old LPs.
Oh yeah.
And it's Tangos with Love by Jeff Love, and his orchestra. And the
poor Clem's thinking, I got up for this.
And some of the best tangos in the world.
Okay, so you're going to point to... Okay, right. The way this works, Clem, you're the judge, okay?
Okay.
We're going to have 3 rounds. They're going to set their iPods to shuffle or close their eyes and point randomly.
Okay.
And then a song is going to come up, okay? You then have to decide, Clem, which is the best song, okay?
Okay.
There are 3 rounds. Each player's got 1 pass that they can use if they want to. Rosie, we're going to break with convention. You're going to go first. So hit shuffle, please.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's okay.
We Will Rock You, Queen.
Oh, you've gone straight in there with, some would say a classic, some would say... The problem I have with We Will Rock You is it's one of those songs where Freddie Mercury really got to act like a showman. And that, I would imagine shortly before that song is when he was doing his... Pero Wembley, Pero Rio. He was doing all that, wasn't he? He does all that.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Freddie Mercury, Clem?
Yes, I was very much a fan. I knew him well.
Excuse me. You knew Freddie?
Yes, I used to go to his house in Oscorp.
Hang on a second. Stop the show. How did you know Freddie?
Well, I had my son's uncle.
Your brother?
No, my son.
Yeah.
Yes, his uncle. Right. He knew Peter. So we used to go over to his house.
Wow.
We went to Oscorp. We used to go to dinner in Oscorp.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
What was he like? Was he a nice fella?
It was very, very nice. Yes.
Okay.
He gave my son on his first birthday a glider.
Wow.
Things you look into.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Peter, you're going to have to pull something out of the bag to beat Queen. Close your eyes and waggle your finger.
Yeah.
And tell us what comes up. What you got, Pete? What you got?
I just told you, Tangos with Love.
No, you can't.
You picked that out. You've got to do a random one.
It's got to be random on the veranda.
That was random. That was random.
You've got to do it randomly on air, Peter.
You're making this too.
Oh, Flim.
Yeah, you'll have to hold it on then.
All right, put the phone down. There's 3. All right, let's go with that one. So you got Jeff Love, Tango with Love.
You've gone.
Peter? I'm flipping. This is the last time we're ever doing this on this show. Peter?
Johnny Cash.
Oh, he's back. Hang on. Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, go on.
Which one?
It's an LP.
Well, yeah.
And it's got Seasons on My Heart. I Feel Better All Over. I Couldn't Keep From Crying. The Time Changed Everything. I'd be just a fool.
Why don't Clem pick
There we go.
pick a number
We're having that.
between-
We're just having that. I, Johnny Cash and I could just be a fool for you. Right, Clem. Flipping it.
Yes.
It's between your mate, who bought your son a glider for his first birthday, Freddie Mercury and Queen with We Will Rock You, versus Johnny Cash and something.
I'm sorry. It's got to be Freddie Mercury.
Of course it's got to be Freddie. So here we go. Pete. Right. Was Peter cheering then? Right. Peter, you get to go first this time.
Yeah.
So you've got to pick a song, not an album, a song at random.
Right. I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Who's that by?
He's just telling you.
No, can you tell us?
Who's that by?
It's Johnny Cash. Can you pick another album? You can't just pick Johnny Cash songs.
Oh, God almighty.
Flippin' heck.
Go and get another record, Peter. You'll have to. Don't run, though.
Do you want me to keep picking out LPs?
Yes!
Well, goodness gracious me. I've left them in the other room now.
They're in the other room.
But I told you to get them all.
Right. Peter, just just make up a song from your collection.
Jamie's been robbed today.
Flippin' heck. Clem, I'm so sorry. You expected to come on and have a professional experience, and this I'm embarrassed, Clem. You must feel awful and angry. Right, Peter.
He's all right. I hope he's all right.
Peter.
Hello?
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
What you got now, boss?
Right. Presley. Teddy Bear.
Presley, Teddy Bear, classic. All right, Rosie, what have you got?
Try a little tenderness, Otis Redding.
Oh, no, okay. Otis Redding. We go over to Clem.
I'm sorry. Try a little tenderness.
Listen, I kind of knew it was going to be that. And also, I kind of think you wanted to leave early, and that's fine. Clem, that's fine. We all do. Clem, listen, you've been a very good sport. Where are you playing next? Have you got any gigs coming up, boss?
I'm going to Butlins, Grosvenor.
Oh, now listen, who else is... Because they do good bills at Butlins, don't they?
Oh, yes, they do.
And do they look after you well?
Yeah, it's good. It's very good doing that, so it's okay.
All right, brilliant. Well, listen, Clem, you're always a good sport. It's always good to have you on the show. Thank you very much, mate. Have a good morning and a good time at Butlins.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye.
Clem Curtis, ladies and gentlemen, from the Foundations, ladies and gentlemen. It's Clem Curtis from the Foundations.
Peter's breathing quite heavily there. You all right?
Peter.
I just breathe through my nose. You can always hear that. So
we can. When we don't hear that sound, Peter, that's when we'll be worried.
Absolutely.
Did you, Peter?
I stuck another one out here, but you're finished now, obviously.
Well, tell us anyway.
Let's see what round three would have done.
One here.
Yeah.
Where do I begin?
I don't know. You tell us.
When love touches your life.
When love touches your what?
Until it's time for you to go.
Love touches your wife?
Pardon?
When love touches your wife?
Your life.
Okay, well, it could have been a lot. Well, Peter, I'm sure this is an enriching experience for you.
Well, I found that bizarre more than anything.
May God bless you and all who sail in you. Thank you, Peter.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ta, Rosie. You are the reigning champion. You'll never be beaten on this show.
Yeah.
He said, just leave it open. He said, it must be a wonderful, wonderful feeling to not have to get up to talk to us at 7:30 on a Friday again.
Well, I would have to anyway now, 'cause I'm working.
Oh, okay.
She didn't do it specially for us. Don't flatter yourself.
I did the other week.
Yeah, she got a right cob on the other week.
Because we're back on term time now. So I've got most Friday.
Well, Rosie, you are a champion and a winner in every single way that word could be applied to you. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosie. Ta-ta. There we go. And,
When love touches your wife.
When Love Touches Your Wife by Shirley Bassey.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the northbound M40, still queuing after the accident earlier, now been moved on to the hard shoulder just before junction 1A for the M25. A few cars collided at the start of the exit to the M25. On the M25 going anti-clockwise, you'll find it slow at junction 19 for Watford. Also anti-clockwise heavy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. On the A5 going south at Markyate, you'll find that heavy towards the motorway, towards the M1 junction 9 for Redbourne. Also on the A1 going south, looking very busy this morning between Eton Soken, the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Tom. 7:45. Friday, the 11th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company, hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads, has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. Let's get the weather!
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Very good morning to you. It's going to be another lovely day again today. We do have a few mist patches out towards western areas at the moment, but for the most part blue skies and sunshine for the rest of the day. A bit of patchy cloud here and there. Top temperatures today on a par with what we saw yesterday, so we'll be up to around 21 or 22 degrees Celsius, particularly across parts of Buckinghamshire. A little bit cooler perhaps across parts of Hertfordshire. Still a lovely day here though. Southeasterly breeze, quite keen at times, but all in all very nice and warm in the sunshine. Now overnight tonight we'll start to get some more clouds spread in from the west. This cloud will thicken and we'll get some spells of rain into tomorrow morning. Overnight lows of around 15 or 16 degrees, so it is going to be a fairly mild night to come, but a wet start to the weekend. And now that rain is going to clear by Saturday afternoon. It should be dry again. There'll be some good spells of sunshine developing. Temperatures up to around 19 or even 20 degrees Celsius, so an improving picture all the while. The risk of a few showers at times on Sunday. It will feel cooler, but there will be a lot of dry weather too. There will be some sunny spells hopefully through the afternoon, and there'll be some more rain in the forecast for later on in the day on Sunday too. So wet start, wet end of the weekend, a lot of dry weather in between, but next week it's going to turn very wet and very windy at times, so do enjoy the sunshine today. That's the forecast.
If you've missed any of the programmes here on BBC Three Counties Radio, you've missed things like this.
So we're now in 1996. The Stone Roses get back together to headline the festival. They end up playing their worst gig of all time.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
Warning, you are losing vast days of your life to the after effects of heavy drinking.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
You've been crowned the first ever World Masters champion in the over 80s category for the Scottish Highlander Games.
That's right, yeah.
Allowing you to listen to what you missed.
What a way to open a theatrical hour here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
All schools in central Bedfordshire now have the power to set their own term dates. The National Union of Teachers has raised concerns about the idea, which would allow schools to set different term times to one another. Central Beds Council are the only authority so far in that area to make this change, although the Department of Education says the change will eventually be rolled out across the country. Well, Hilary Buckey is the Regional Secretary for the Eastern Region of the NUT. Morning, Hilary.
Good morning.
Are you concerned about this?
Well, I think, I mean, I'm sure that many of your listeners are parents, and I don't think it takes much imagination to realise that this has the potential to cause chaos, because most families have more than one child, and if they're at different schools and those schools are setting different holiday dates, it's going to be extremely difficult to not only arrange family holidays but also arrange childcare in the holidays and so on. So I hope that the schools in central Bedfordshire will think very carefully before exercising this freedom.
But you'd have to find care anyway. So I mean,
but if you've got two children and that they're at different schools and they have different holidays, then rather than having care for one of the parents taking time off work to look after the children in the holidays, they may find they have to take two lots of time off because the children are off at different times.
Well, but parents don't always take. I mean, very few parents are in the position where they can take the whole summer holiday off anyway. So so they would have found alternative plans, won't they?
Well, they might have done, but it might anyway. It might cost them more. It's also going to be, as I say, difficult to. I mean, we've heard a lot recently about parents who've been fined for taking their children out of school in.
Well, this is why this might be a good idea, because this might make it cheaper for them to take their kids on holiday during the school holiday.
Yeah, but not if they've got children at different schools with different holidays, because then ultimately they may still have to.
What's your real beef with it? Because you're not the National Union of Parents, you're the National Union of Teachers, so you must be concerned about the impact this will have on your members.
Well, I think primarily the people that it's going to have most impact on are parents of all kinds, whether they're work in other fields or whether they're teachers. I mean, it could be very difficult for teachers as well. I'm sure you can envisage that if you've got a husband and wife who work in different schools, they might end up with different holidays as well. And unlike most people, teachers don't have any choice about when they take their holidays. They have to do it when the school is closed. So all in all, I think it's as with many of these freedoms, whilst they may be appealing at first sight, they do have the potential to impose a lot of other restrictions on people.
How much leeway have they got? I mean, because you couldn't set the school holiday like a month early. What is there kind of a window they have?
Well, not as far as I know. I mean, if you look across the eastern region, I mean, I cover 14 different local authorities, including Herts, Beds and Bucks.
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of variation. You might have one authority where they finish on the Friday and another where they finish the following Tuesday, that kind of thing. But by and large, they follow the same sort of pattern. But there are other areas of the country where they might have a 4-term year, for example, rather than a 3-term year. Some areas only have Good Friday and Easter Monday off over Easter, and they'll have a spring break at a completely different time that's nowhere near Easter because it's a movable feast. So there is the potential for some very different patterns of term times and holidays.
Why have they granted? I don't quite understand why they've granted them this power.
Well, I don't understand why academies and free schools have been granted all sorts of powers. It's a bit of a mystery to me and to the union. I mean, for example, the fact that free schools don't have to apply the national curriculum. Well, if the national curriculum is not a good thing, why do state schools have to? Why do local authority schools have to apply it? There are all sorts of these freedoms which I think are potentially. On the surface quite attractive, but in reality they haven't really been thought through.
Hilary, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Thank you very much indeed. Hilary Buckey, Regional Secretary for the Eastern Region of the NUT.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Terry Gilliam's dead. He's not, though. But Variety magazine posted his obituary. They posted his obituary. Imagine that. Monty Python animator Terry Gilliam has apologised for being dead after a magazine wrongly said he'd drawn his last breath. Variety.
Isn't he apologising for not being dead?
Well, Variety printed a prepared obituary by mistake with the headline, Monty Python's Terry Gilliam, director of Brazil, dies at XXX.
Oh.
56. Joker Gilliam, 74, mocks up a deathbed photo with a mourner crouching over him.
Of course he did.
They haven't got that picture, holding a sign blaming Variety's bad review for his death at only 30. He told fans on Facebook, I apologise for being dead, especially those who've bought tickets to come and see my talks. Dismissing the correction released by the magazine, he added, don't believe their retraction and apology, it's a lie. Oh, I like Terry Gilliam. But it's a shame he's dead, or not dead, as the case may be. There's the big story of the day, and I've deliberately kind of avoided it, is the fact that the Parliament are debating right to die. Now, we could have done that as a phone-in, and we could have sent Dealey out on the streets, and I just kind of think we'll never top the time we had a Christian woman on talking. I think she was on about right to die, wasn't she? Telling us how cancer pain relief is wonderful now, and cancer patients feel no pain whatsoever. And when I kind of cited the example of my dad being in agony, she ignored it. And then halfway through the interview, she just put the phone down, didn't she?
I think so, yeah. If I remember rightly, she just
put the phone down. And we'll never top that. And it's a weird... I mean, you can call in if you want, but doesn't everybody agree it's a good idea now? Apart from, like, your hardcore Christians... Because one of the archbishops, or a former archbishop, came out the other day and said we should not allow this. All right, well that's your opinion. Let's have an intellectual debate. Apart from the hardcore Christians, everyone thinks that we should be able to help people to die now, shouldn't we? Within certain very tight restrictions.
I think the people with the most vocal reservations are the Christians, but I mean, should they have that much power?
What do the Muslims think? I bet the Buddhists are well up for it. The Buddhists will be well up for it because then you just come back. You recycle
but
yourself.
Isn't Buddhism all about enduring?
No, you're thinking of the Cannonball Run.
I'm always thinking of the Cannonball Run, but
that's
I thought
an endurance race.
I thought that you're thinking of Banzai.
You're thinking of triathlon. You're thinking of Mr. Shaky Hands. He was good, Mr. Shaky Hands, wasn't he?
Good, yeah.
Banzai!
Anyway, I'm glad we've.
That was when Channel 4 was good.
That's the right to die sorted.
Well, I just think, I mean, you can call it if you want, but There is no, and I've really thought about this a lot. I say a lot. I mean, let's not get carried away. I once was stuck in a lift. There is no intellectual argument for not allowing the right to die. It's not an intellectual one. There's a spiritual one.
No, there is another one.
Go on.
People like Mick Scarlett.
Yeah.
He's against it, isn't he? Because he thinks it will open the door to what's it called, eugenics.
Yeah. Right. Well, he's wrong.
Because who makes the decision?
Well, you make the decision. So Mick Scarlett
is
worried
able to
because
make the
he is.
decision?
Well, Mick Scarlett is concerned that because he is in some ways disabled, that he'll be put down. Well,
Or that people who aren't as vocal as he is, people who are disabled and unable to express themselves.
Well, that won't happen. That won't happen.
But will it though?
Well, no, it
But
won't.
will it though?
Well, no, it won't. It won't, because they say there'll be very, very strict guidelines and structures that you have to work within for it to work. Listen, I said to I didn't say to my dad, but when my dad was very, very ill at the end and in a lot of pain, if he'd have said to me, if he'd have had a moment of clarity and said, look, I know what's happening here, you couldn't help us out, could you? I would have done it. I would have done it. I've got no qualms about that. I've spoken to my mum about it. She wanted to live, so that's the inheritance gone.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately.
My grandma always says, if I get to that point, will you slip me a sandwich? That's the code for...
A sandwich? How bad is your cooking?
She means a special sandwich.
What are you going to put in there?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Well, yeah, how would you kill your elderly relatives? Call us now.
Of course, I'm not going to do it, but that is the code. Slip me a sandwich.
I said if I
Maybe she actually just does want a sandwich.
No, special sandwich. Special.
Jamie is gutted that he didn't get to play. But 03459
He's always gutted.
He's gutted that he didn't get to play, and his songs would have been, had he been playing iPod Roulette, Heart Alone.
Tune.
Eric Clapton, Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Gosh.
Oh, and this here you go, Dr. Hook, Sexy Eyes. That's not a good song.
He would have lost.
I spent some time in the company of the singer from Dr. Hook, Dennis, last night. Was chatting to him. He hates the song Sexy Eyes. He's using a cat food commercial. So we've sorted out Dr. Hook. We'll get him on one day, Dennis. I like Dennis. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. We've sorted out the right to die. So I think we've won radio, haven't we? Have we won radio?
Yeah. So what are we going to do for the next hour?
Can we do the first hour all over again?
We could try.
Let's give it a go, guys.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Getting back to normal on the M40 going north now at the M25. There was an accident there on the exit slip road at junction 1A, but traffic easing on the speed sensors. On the M25 going anti-clockwise, you'll find that heavy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. On the A1 going south, that's heavy this morning from Eton Soken, that's near its junction to the Black Cat roundabout. Through Clop Hill, the A6 going south, that's looking very slow between Back Street towards the A507. No problems I can see on the trains. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much. Last hour of the show. You can call in about the right to die thing. I just know it's going to be... I can already hear Jeremy Vine revving his engines. So you're going to hear it a lot on the radio. If you want to call in... OK, this is what we'll put out there, right? This is the challenge. And we did this with the refugees and no one could rise to it. An intellectual, not emotional, spiritual, religious, an intellectual argument as to why the right to die is not the most sensible idea of all time.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: Watford Mayor says people want assurances about town's hospital. Hertfordshire Roads firm fined over £500,000. And Paula's husband calls for backing from World Anti-Doping Agency.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. West Herts NHS Trust has responsibility for hospitals in Watford, Hemel Hempstead and St Albans, and was given an overall rating of inadequate by the Care Quality Commission. Mayor Dorothy Thornhill says people are understandably concerned.
They actually have to put notices up at the entrances of every single site of all the hospitals, basically saying this is a bad hospital. How does that make you feel? How does that make those staff feel? I just don't see the point of that. I don't know how that is helping three hospitals to get themselves out of a great big mess.
The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. Ringway was fined around £670,000 over the last 2 years for failing to respond to repair requests, not gritting roads quickly enough and working without a road permit. The company receives around £35 million a year. Councillor Stephen Giles Medhurst is leader of the Lib Dem opposition at Herts County Council.
If you've got a pothole outside your road, you've reported, Ringway come along, fail to do the job properly, the resident gets on to the councillor like myself or my colleagues and say, what the hell's going on here? I'm paying my council tax, it's $2,000 a year and you're not doing the job. It's an issue for that resident, therefore any of these failures are an issue.
MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. The private member's bill would allow doctors to prescribe a lethal dose to people thought to have less than 6 months to live and who have asked to be helped to die. Extra police patrols are being carried out in Fishermead in Milton Keynes to reassure the public after a woman suffered serious stab injuries at a house on the estate on Wednesday night. The woman in her 30s is in a critical condition in hospital. A 38-year-old man has been arrested. Police say they were known to each other. A coach driver from Hertfordshire who fell asleep at the wheel while taking school children on a trip will be sentenced today. 23-year-old Ross Ogilvie has already pleaded guilty to dangerous driving. More from Carol Abercrombie.
The coach from Richmond Coaches, based in the Hertfordshire village of Barley, was among a convoy taking school children from Cambridgeshire to Hunstanton, but it left the A10 at Hilgey in Norfolk and crashed into a ditch. Ogilvie had to be cut free, but the 42 children and teachers on board escaped with only minor injuries. Ogilvie from Heathfield in Royston no longer works for the company.
In sport, Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations.
The sport is everything to Paula. She probably thinks about the sport too much. She probably should have been, as I said, she should have been a bit more selfish. But something to do with doping goes to the very heart of what she's about. You couldn't say anything worse on this world to her.
The weather, bright and breezy with sunny spells, a maximum temperature 21 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, thank you, Simon. I've checked with the boss. We're not allowed to repeat the first hour. We've got to do another hour of radio. Jeez. You can call in about the right to die. I'm avoiding it because you will hear a lot of it today, and that's fine. If you can call... These are the only calls we'll accept on this. If you have an intellectual argument as to why the right to die is wrong. It's got to be an intellectual argument. Don't phone up because only God decides when we can die. All of that stuff. I'm not having that because that doesn't touch me. That doesn't affect me. And I suspect that doesn't affect a lot of other people. Your belief? Groovy. Dig it, man. But ain't for me. It just seems like the most obvious common sense thing. It just seems common sense to me. 03459 455 555. Ever got a hole in one? I know. I mean, really. And what's fishing all about? It's
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right. Now, people need reassurance about the quality of care at Watford General now that it's been placed in special measures. The call is coming from a number of politicians, including the town's mayor, Dorothy Thornhill. She's seeking clarity from hospital bosses after the Care Quality Commission found services inadequate at St Albans, Hemel and Watford General and told the West Herts Hospital Trust, which runs them, that urgent improvements are needed to bring them up to scratch. Well, Richard Harrington is the MP for Watford. It's a stinky report, isn't it, Richard? Are you surprised?
Good morning. It is a stinky report. I'm not surprised. I was one of the people who instigated the report being done in the first place, to give her credit with the previous chief executive. And I'm glad it's in special measures because it's now going to get the determined attention and resources that it needs.
Why did you instigate this report?
Well, because I don't understand hospital management. I became the MP 5 years ago. I have a very good background in business and everything, but I didn't know anything about hospital management, and I was given a whole loads of reasons why this couldn't be done, this couldn't be done, this couldn't be done, and the measures that were being taken. And then Jeremy Hunt set up this independent organisation, the CQC, precisely to do this sort of investigation. So I thought if there was a full investigation like this, we'll all know where we are. And the resources that are needed, both management resources and financial resources, could be brought to bear to make the place into a first-class hospital. And having said all that, Ian, I'm very disappointed about it, but I've read the report 20 times. There are some good things.
Yeah.
Lot of praise on the staff there. There's some very good points to do with care and also to be reasonable. I think MPs always go, to be fair, but you know what I mean? You've got to give some of the credit. Some of the things that are needed to be done are being put in. But what they do is they bring in a centrally provided improvement director whose responsibility is to get this up to scratch. So for that reason, I'm very pleased about it.
The management comes in for criticism and the leadership, and that must be heartbreaking for the people that are actually, cleaning the floors in the wards and taking blood tests and doing all those kind of things.
The doctors and the nurses and everything else. I absolutely. But also, it's very easy in these things for each set of management to blame the one before, and they blame the one before that.
Oh, I hate that.
There's been a load of chief executives here. And I just feel it's now in the spotlight, and it's in the national spotlight. I've asked to see Jeremy Hunt about it because it's my job. Because people always say to me, at elections, all these politicians blame the other parties for this, that, and the other with hospitals and everything. I'm waiting. I go to the hospital to meet the management. I want a proposal for a massive redevelopment of that hospital. Then it's for me to go back to government or whoever, or indeed if it's another time and it's another political party and another MP, I'm sure they would do exactly the same, to make sure the funds are available. But the frustrating thing for me and for Dorothy Thornhill, who has said the same thing, is that there's not been a proposal on the table.
Let me just quickly, for those who missed, we mentioned this earlier, but these are the 5 key points from the CQC's report. Are services at the Trust safe? Rated as inadequate. Is it effective? Requires improvement. Is it caring? Requires improvement. Is it responsive? Requires improvement. Is it well led? Rated as inadequate. Now people have the right to choose where they get treated in their hospital treatment. I'd be very reluctant to go to Watford Hospital.
Yeah, I would disagree totally with that. I mean, I must say, of a personal note in this, I've been to the hospital nearly every day for the last 3 weeks. Actually,
are services safe? They're rated as inadequate.
And they are, but believe me, there is no need for anyone to be worried about going to that hospital. A lot of the things that are inadequate are, if you read the detail of the report, are important, but not frontline stuff like recording things, procedures, action plans. So, for example, taking the health and safety measures, they say that actually the measures are in place, but there was no record of it and no organisation of it. This is management. But actually behind all that, well, there are 2 issues. One is the management, but behind all that, a lot of those buildings are old buildings. They need rebuilding. This is exactly what the NHS is doing, and this, I think, is what the special measures will bring about. And it's my job to stand like Dorothy Thornhill, who said, I agree with every word that she said. It's our job to make sure that happens. But at least the measures are in place to make sure that it will.
Is there, when things get put into special measures, this is probably a very naive, dumb question, but I'm kind of naive and dumb. Is there suddenly an extra pot of money? Because it sounds like these improvements are going to require cash.
No, that's a very reasonable question. That is the first question I actually asked the Secretary of State when I rang him on this. Yes, the answer is yes, there are monies available for this precise purpose. But I would like to make it clear, my frustration is that it's not like any money was ever asked for and rejected. That's the annoying thing. Had management come up with a plan 3 years ago, like, for example, down in Sussex, I know this because an MP friend has been dealing with it down there. The Hospital Trust came up with a plan to redevelop the Royal Sussex Hospital. He went into bat, helped the whole mechanism and everything, and it's being built. That's our frustration, and that's what I think this will bring about. Disappointing though the whole thing is, I think it will end up in time as a good thing.
Richard, good to talk to you. I really appreciate your input. It's Richard Harrington, who's the MP for Watford.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's some texts there. Are you on it?
The only intellectual arguments we're getting so far for the people to be given your right to die to be enshrined in law, basically, are coming through on the text, and we'd love to speak to you about them rather than reading out text. We've just phoned one of them back, but she can't come on. But this is one. Some doctors are corrupt, she says. There's 3 reasons.
Well,
hang on.
Shipman.
Three reasons. Some doctors are corrupt. Some families will force frail, vulnerable relatives to say they want to die. And 3, it's very hard to say that someone will definitely die within 6 months. I've seen evidence of all of these in my work as a social worker.
Well, where are these corrupt doctors, Nikki? You should be reporting them. I mean, yes, of course, everyone cites Harold Shipman. He was the bad penny in an otherwise bank of clean, shining coins, I would have thought. Relatives will force frail, vulnerable relatives to die? No, they won't. They won't do that. And it's very hard to say that someone would... I know, but you should have that choice. If you're told, right, you've got 6 months to live, or you're in chronic pain, then you should be able to make that decision.
Here's one from Lee B in Milton Keynes.
Lee B.
He says, regarding the right to die, could it be argued that when faced with your own mortality, you're not in the right frame of mind to make such a decision? When faced with unending, uncontrollable pain and suffering, can you truly be in the right frame of mind to make your last decision?
But you're in the frame of mind of a load of pain. And if that pain is only going to be lessened by a shed load of drugs, so you think you're as my dad did, he thought he was walking through a garden in Paris for some of it when he wasn't writhing in agony, then you know what? I'd rather go. That's not life. That's not life. That's not life at all. We're still having problems with the signal, apparently. You're very crackly on 103.8, but when I tune to 104.3, it keeps switching to a Welsh station.
Well, maybe a higher power is trying to tell you something. Go to Wales.
Hey, here we go. Someone read this from Sam from Dunstable.
All right, yeah, I'm just putting the name in, so we've got it in future, so we know who's scoring points.
He's got a point system.
Morning, me, Sam from Dunstable, and my brother Lee from Milton Keynes. I think that must have been Lee that we just read out.
All right.
Now
geezers.
have our own point system for getting on your show.
They're playing radio bingo. I like it.
Fair enough. We've done it. They're as follows.
We have done it.
Text. We improved their programme.
Oh, didn't we just?
Text read out on air, 1 point. Iain saying the text is the best one of the feature. Bream Genie.
Yeah, oh, well done.
That
was good. That was hashtag Bowiefish.
2 points. Get on the phone live on air, 5 points.
Ooh.
Text makes it to the podcast, 7 points.
Ooh.
Phone call makes it to the podcast, 10 points. Getting your own Dave bot, winner.
Wow.
After my brother's bum and doctor story yesterday, he's 5-3 up. You're going to get inundated next week.
Can I correct the calling, the point system? 5 points for getting on air? No, how many points does it forget? Yeah, 5 points.
You can just get on air, it's not...
You know we have no standards. Anybody can get on air. That should be minus points if you get on air.
Unless you're rude to me, and then I will.
It should be minus points if you get on air, but you still get bonus points if that call makes it into the podcast. So it's a gamble. There's an element of danger there.
Definitely. Apparently we're still crackling. I've had a phone call from John in Datchworth.
It sounds good in my ear holes, so that's... kind of
so
all
he
that
doesn't care
to me. It really is so tired.
And Scott's moaning about fuzzy signals.
Kelly Betts has got her hand up.
We have people on site to go and check it out.
Okay, I mean, it's not really... Sounds great in these cans.
It does to me as well. It's brilliant.
I love a jazz flute.
Gurney Slade, isn't it? This is the theme tune to an Anthony Newley TV programme.
I always found him a bit creepy. I think it was the eyebrows.
Is he dead, Anthony Newley?
Yeah.
Aye.
He looks just like his daughter, or she looks just like him. I saw her once. Is that Anthony Newley? It was Tara.
Tara Newley, wowzers. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
Right, last of the show. 0345. I'm just melting. 4 hours sleep. Imagine 4 hours sleep, and the whole night is punctuated by a dream where Pete Townsend from The Who is trying to sell you drugs at a festival. Oh, and then your mum finds out. A really horrible. 03459 455 555 is the phone number. 81333. Start your text 3CR.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, looking heavy between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 15 for the M4. On the M40 going north in Marlow, that's queuing for about a mile before the Handy Cross roundabout. The A5 at Markyate going south, that's looking busy towards the M1 at junction 9 for Redbourne. On the A4280 Bromham Road, very slow going east between the A428, the Branston Way, and Ashburnham Road. And the A1 going south, that's heavy this morning between Eton Soken, the St Neots Junction, and the Black Cat roundabout. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, OK, can we do this? Have you seen Lino's tweet?
No, but it's Lino.
We had a text saying we shouldn't have the right to die because of evil doctors, and he started listing evil doctors. Can we... I think we can. He's included Dr... He says, I think you're forgetting Dr. Crippen and Dr. Evil. Those are very evil doctors. We can... OK, can we phrase it?
Dr. Strangeglove from the Moshi Monsters movie.
What?
Yeah, there is.
I was going to say doctors you wouldn't trust to administer the right to die, but we won't do that.
No.
We will do evil doctors, though. We can do evil doctors.
Dr. Jekyll.
No, he was good. He was good. It was Mr. Hyde. Yeah, exactly. 03459 455 555. Evil doctors on today of all days. If that doesn't warrant a complaint, guys, then nothing does. Seriously. That one might have legs. Where are we now? 8:16. It's Friday the 11th September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company, hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads, has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales.
Every weekday morning.
Good morning, Jonathan.
Morning. Do you think it's right to tell 1 million disabled people they should get off benefits and find a job?
Have your say on today's big phone-in.
People who are going to be a nuisance are going to be a nuisance regardless of whether there are things to do.
Is it true that people over the age of 65 drink far too much booze?
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
Waited and the receipt came out, but the cash didn't.
It's become a problem of late because obviously the trees got bigger as we've got here.
We couldn't shut the French windows. It would appear that they'd buckled.
I had a phone call from my daughter saying if we don't get off the train, they're going to hand us over to the British Transport Police.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio. This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, Jan.
Good morning, Iain.
What have you got for us, Jan?
I'd just like to comment on what that MP was saying about Watford Hospital.
Oh, yeah, go on.
I'm not surprised it is special measures. My mother was in there just nearly 2 years ago and had awful treatment. The other thing is, he said there was money for improvement that nobody's actually asked for. We had a hospital in Hemel that was a lot newer than Watford. Had a new maternity unit, and I'm getting the feedback on my phone, sorry. And they closed it down. We only have an A&E urgent care centre now.
Yeah.
There was never any money to spend on that. Now all of a sudden there's money to spend on Watford, which isn't adequate to cover the amount of people that have to go there.
What happened, very briefly, because it's not the greatest of lines, and we're having loads of problems with our technical stuff today. What happened to your mum?
My mum had a stroke, which they didn't know until she went in there. They did give her a scan at the bed, but there was no doctors. There was not one doctor that was an expert on strokes, and they said she hadn't had a stroke. And then a day later, she had a stroke. But there is a drug that they can give you if they know that you've got a stroke to disperse the blood clots, which they didn't give her. And then after 2 days, they said that there's nothing they could do, and they wouldn't be feeding her. They'd just give her fluid.
Oh.
Which they did, but 4 weeks, and we managed to get her out into a hospice because it was just the treatment she was getting was diabolical.
So you're not surprised then, Jan, that it's been put in special measures?
Not at all.
All right, listen. I'm going to move on because the line is not particularly good. But I appreciate you sharing your story about your mum with us. We got the thrust of the story, so thank you very much for that. Now, the company contracted to look after Hertfordshire's highways has been fined over £500,000 for not doing a good enough job. Ringway receives around 35 million quid a year to maintain the council's roads and paths, fill in potholes and grit roads in the winter. However, over the last 2 years, Herts County Council has been forced to withhold over £670,000 for failing to respond to repairs or leaving it too late to grit the roads. Terry Duris is responsible for highways at Hertfordshire County Council. Terry, if they're not doing the job and they're costing you money, why do you not just get rid of them and get someone decent in? Oh, hang on a minute. Where's Terry? He's gone. I was on. Terry, you there? Terry? Oh, we'll try and we'll get Terry back. We seem to have lost him there for a second. And 03459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. 81333. Start your text. I know there are problems with the transmitter. I mean, I can. Has that worked? Has that sorted it? I'm hitting it. I can turn the station off and on again if you want. We could try and reset the station after 8:30 if that's still going on. Terry, are you there?
I am, yes. Good morning.
Terry, if they're costing you money, why don't you just get rid of them?
Well, we have a contract with them, and we need to put this in perspective because these are not fines. These are, if you like, deductions that are part of the contract to make sure that we actually get, as residents of Hertfordshire, or for Hertfordshire residents, Hertfordshire County Council gets the best value for money.
But wouldn't you rather they did the job?
Our contractors.
Wouldn't you rather they did the job? Wouldn't you rather they did the job?
A lot of these deductions are actually not related in the actuality to the job, but maybe where, for example, if they were contracted to, or the performance measure was to arrive within 1 hour. If they got there within, say, an hour and 5 minutes, there would be a deduction because they have failed to meet that particular performance. But that's the sort of thing.
Well, it's not. There's other stuff. What about not getting the right permits?
You need to put this into perspective.
What about not getting the right permits?
You need to put this into perspective because all of the permits are actually obtained by humans, and every now and then, any one person can make a mistake.
Terry, seriously, you're paying a company £35 million a year, and I kind of assume they were humans, and they can't sort the permits out? Come on, dude, that's lazy.
No, I didn't say that. I said every now and then anybody can make a mistake. Even radio presenters can make mistakes.
Well, yeah, but I'm not getting paid 35 million quid a year from taxpayers.
Oh, I don't know how much you get paid.
Well, listen, Terry, you're being flippant, and you're kind of making yourself look silly. Come on, 35 million quid a year, and they can't get the right permits because they're humans?
Look at the proportion of this.
How many permits a year have they missed?
I can't tell you the number of permits. I don't know. What I can tell you, though, is just, again, to put things into proportion, do you know that during the summer break, we have done over 1,000 highway schemes across the county this summer? And that's an awful lot of work, and occasionally, I'm not going to say that we get it right absolutely every time.
£670,000 of cock-ups. That's a lot of cock-ups.
And that figure has reduced. That was over 2 years. In 13-14, the figure was about £420,000. That has come down due to the vigilance of Hertfordshire County Council and Ringway working with us to £250,000 this year.
£250,000 of cock-ups. You're happy with that margin? You're happy with that margin of error, Terry? £250,000 quid of cock-ups?
They are not cock-ups.
Then why aren't you paying them the money then?
Sorry?
Why aren't you paying them the money then?
Because, as I have said to you, they in fact, they were operating on those particular situations outside the performance management.
What about when they left it too late to grit the roads?
I'm not going to agree that they did leave it too late to grit the roads.
Was money withheld for them not gritting the roads?
I can't give you the specifics because I don't know the specific about gritting the roads.
Right, well, hang on a second. Just remind me what your job is.
I'm not aware of any roads gritted late, other than perhaps if they were due to be gritted between 4 and 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever it may be, and they weren't finished until 8:30 or something like that.
Was money withheld from them, Terry, because they failed? They gritted the roads too late?
I don't believe that money was withheld because they gritted the roads too late.
Let's go out the other way. Right. So you're you're responsible for highways at Hertfordshire County Council. Let's go out the other way. Let's break down this £200,000. Where did they go wrong?
I haven't got the breakdown for the 200,000.
Oh, Terry, but come on, Terry. You're responsible for highways at Hertfordshire County Council. You knew you were going to come on and talk about this today. You can't break down the £200,000.
About a third of that is in performance management targets.
What does that mean in English?
Well, if, for example, that they were contracted to attend to a fault within an hour and they got there within in an hour and 10 minutes, then that would actually mean that they had not performed to the performance management target that they got, and therefore there would be a deduction. It's a very heavy penalty to pay, and equally we have a very strong contract with them to actually get the best for.
Well, why don't you get someone better in? 35 million quid a year is a lot. Come on, let's be honest. That's a lot of money, right? And for there to be any mistakes is ridiculous when it's wasting mine and taxpayers' money. Why don't you? They've obviously broken the contract by not delivering. Why don't you get someone decent in?
They have not broken the contract. There have been occasions where they have failed to perform within the contract specifications, which are very tight.
That's
because
Terry.
Hertfordshire wants the very best for Hertfordshire residents.
Use that phrase again. They failed to what? Sorry.
They failed to perform within the strict limits of the contract on those particular occasions.
That means they broke the contract, Terry.
They
broke the contract.
I don't think they did.
They failed to operate within the criteria set down by the contract. Well, then they broke the contract.
No, the performance management, the contract actually provides it within it, in the same way that lots of other places have performance management.
Okay. So you're happy with Ringway? You think they're doing a cracking job?
I think Ringway are improving. I think that there have been issues.
35 million quid a year? They should start off at a pretty high standard.
I think there will be some people who complain about the BBC and the money that they get from the national.
What has that got to do with you? Come on, Terry. You could listen. The BBC's got nothing to do with this. You pay a company 35 million quid a year. You cheat them your argument by trying to have cheap pot shots at me, and it ain't working. And they're not delivering the goods. Do you think Ringway value for money?
I think that we actually do get good value for money. We have a very tight contract for the repairs of the highways in Hertfordshire. Some people would disagree, and I accept that they will not see it like that, but we do have a very tight contract. We administrate it very carefully because we are aware that we are dealing with public money, and in fact I think that Ringway are improving. There is a way to go yet. And I know that £35 million is a lot of money and it's a big contract, but equally £250,000 represents something less than 0.5%.
Terry, thanks very much.
Cheers.
Terry Duris, responsible for highways at Hertfordshire County Council. The argument lesson 101. Turning the argument back on the person and the organisation they work for when it's irrelevant doesn't work. Yeah, there's too much money in the BBC, yeah, and what do you want me to do about it? I'm not getting it. I'm getting a tiny percentage, but what's that got to do with the 35 million quid a year that's being spent on roads? I don't... Terry.
It's as if he wanted us to look somewhere else and not what he was spending his money on.
Oh, dear.
Ricardo's been hanging on. We can hold him.
We'll have to hold him, because I've got to do this now, I'm afraid.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the A41 going north at Hemel, Kristen's called to say there's a car overturned there just after the Hemel-Hempstead turn off the A414, so take care if you're going that way. The M25 anti-clockwise queuing between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40. On the M40 there's a mile of queues before junction 4 going north into the Handy Cross roundabout. On the A1 going south, that's queuing from Holiday into Stirling Corner in Borehamwood, and further up the A1 coming towards London you'll find queues between Eton Soak and the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30, I'm Simon Oxley. The MP for Watford says people should not be worried about attending the town's hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. Richard Harrington says being put into special measures will allow more government funding to make improvements. The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Paula Radcliffe's husband Gary says the Bedford athlete should be publicly backed by the World Anti-Doping Agency after she claimed she'd been implicated in blood doping allegations. The new head of World Athletics, Lord Coe, has also backed Radcliffe, saying she should not be the victim of a witch hunt. Premier League and Championship football resumes tomorrow. Watford hosts Swansea in the Premier League, having made several deadline day signings, but having failed to score in their last 4 games. Head coach Quique Flores admits his team have been working on their attacking threat during the international break.
For us, I think to create attempts is, in the last 2 games, maybe was a little bit different, but always we had to think about against what is the level of the opponent. So I think the problem is coming more for the moral of the players. The way they are working is good, but we try to correct little things.
In the Championship, MK Dons go to Middlesbrough with manager Cole Robinson defending the inability to strengthen his squad with a new striker. Ex-Cardiff striker Nicky Maynard and former Watford player Tommy Smith have been training with Robinson's side.
Not on trial training. Nicky's got a bit of talent, obviously. Tommy's someone, his agent's a friend of mine, just needs someone to train for a short period of time. We're trying every avenue possible to try and make it happen. But like I say, we'll see what happens over forthcoming days, one of them.
In League 2, Wickham host Plymouth, Stevenage are at home to York, Luton go to Notts County with manager John Still juggling his squad.
If I was a player not playing for any reason, I'd want to speak to the manager and put my case. But they're only looking at one, I've got to look at 20 odd. I watch training, watch games, and players are players obviously, and they're going to make their own case, and I would expect them to. But sometimes they think they're playing and training better than they are. Sometimes they think they're fitter than they are.
And England's cricketers face Australia in the 4th one-day international at Headingley today. The tourists lead the 5-match series 2-1. BBC Three Counties News and Sport, the next full bulletin at 9.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Right, Ricardo, you've been waiting for ages. Morning, Ricardo.
Good morning, Ian.
Morning, boss. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. What you got for us, boss?
Well, my opinion in this assisted dying is that it's quite dangerous. It's like opening the Pandora's box because it could happen quite likely as this abortion. Initially, it was in very strict circumstances, and at the end, you can abort for any reason. As an example, last year my wife got pregnant, and she was in a depression, and every time we went to the GP or the hospital, we were asked, "Do you want to carry on with the pregnancy?" We were, "What? What are you talking about?" My baby. I think the same can happen with assisted dying because you are in a vulnerable situation, and you can make the wrong decision.
But you can make the wrong decision, but you can make the decision. You don't have the opportunity to make the decision. I think comparing abortion to the right to die, I don't. And obviously, you have issues with how you were dealt with and what happened to you, Ricardo. But I don't think there's a comparison between the two. Because with abortion, it is the potential parents, the mum specifically, but the parents, you would hope, that are making the decision. In right to die is you. You're making a decision about you and about how you end your life. So that I don't think the two are comparable.
Yeah, let me explain better. The reason I put this example is that when we were asked if we wanted to carry on with it was a very important temptation because my wife was in a vulnerable situation.
Yep.
And now we regret that decision very much because this baby has been the best thing that has happened to us.
Yeah.
So the question is that in that moment, it was a very strong situation. And the same can happen. And also,
But your wife didn't have the abortion, did she?
No, she didn't.
Right. Okay. Well, then, who's to say that a person who is ill, who is offered that, they might make the same decision not to have it, not to kill themselves. But it's the choice. Yeah. It's the fact that they've got the choice. That's the thing. It's the right to do it. It's not saying necessarily you're going to do it. It's having the right to decide.
Obviously, in this case, there's one thing that nobody can regret the decision, but because they make the wrong decision, they're going to die. They will not have the chance to regret it.
If they make that decision at the time, you're right, they won't regret it because they've made that decision.
Yeah.
So there's no chance for them to regret it.
Yeah, but the thing with abortion in the future, in a few years' time,
yes,
for any reason that you are suffering, that you can overcome this suffering, but you are suffering, or you are an annoyance to your family, and you are in a vulnerable situation, you can make that decision and not being absolutely...
Here's what it boils down to. I've got cancer, I'm in a lot of pain, I've got 6 months to live. What's it got to do with you or your wife or anybody else as to whether I decide to live or die or not? Nothing. And that's what it boils down to. It should be my right to end the pain and the misery that I am in. Nobody else's.
Yeah, but nobody can tell you for sure that you are going to live for 6 months.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm miserable. I'm in agony. And there is no hope of this agony lifting. And it might. You're right. It might last 6 months. It might last 6 years. I want out. That's got to be my choice.
Well, that's what I said at the beginning. You're in agony, but in a few years, probably this opportunity will be given to people that is not in extreme agony. Or
but you're jumping forward. You're jumping forward. Well, let's assume that. Why can't we assume that it won't be? Why can't we assume that? What you think they're going to have like death cafes set up on street corners where if you're just feeling a little bit down, you can go and drink some hemlock and kill yourself?
Well, what I started saying is that I thought that this was dangerous. I mean that it's likely that this would happen. I'm not sure that will happen.
Okay, all right, listen, we've got to move on, Ricardo, but I appreciate you waiting. 03459 455 555. Miss Jones in Bedford says, Terry Duris sounded like he was doing a bad Dragon's Den pitch. Does not do his homework or know the figures. I mean, that's one thing. And then there's a long email about...
he likes the BBC, though, doesn't he?
He loves
that's
the BBC.
what counts.
Okay, the BBC get too much money. Yeah, next. What do you want me to say? I'll email Tony later on and have a word. He replies to my emails, Tony, so I'm in good stead. I mean... right, okay, let's do this. Penn School, we've been following it for ages, and there was a glimmer of hope that it might get sorted out. This is the school for kids who were with communication problems, that were deaf, that were autistic, and it didn't get sorted out. Amanda Burgess is one of the parents of the kids at the school we've been talking to a lot. Morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Ian.
It's done and dusted, isn't it? That's it now.
Oh yeah, it's done and dusted.
And now, did we just get this right? Your boy started his new school. Was it last week?
He did, yes. He started his new school up in Nottingham. Very good school, and he's been there just over a week. So yes.
How's he getting on? Is he doing all right?
Well, it's been a very challenging time actually. It's been very stressful for him. He's sort of expressing himself in ways that we haven't seen for some years now, and he's kind of withdrawing himself. He's scared. He's unhappy. He's probably wondering what on earth is he doing with all these strangers in this strange place, and he's doing things like falling asleep, making himself fall asleep in lessons before going in, because he's residential, so he's looked after there. So when they try and get him from the residential setting in the morning to school, he'll go to sleep on the floor. He'll just lay on the floor and go to sleep. And then they try and sort of get him up. He's threatened a teacher that he'd punch them. He wouldn't ever punch anybody. But
no, he's distressed and he's upset, and that's how he's expressing it. And it's while it's inappropriate, obviously, his situation is a little bit different, and it shows that he's not comfortable.
Yeah, he's finding it very, very tough. He's very clever as well. He's started to hide his clothing because they phoned me yesterday and said, "Has he got any trousers for school here?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course he's got trousers. He's been hiding his clothes so that if he hasn't got clothes, he hasn't got to go to school." So he's very clever in some ways. And we'll be having a little chat with him later tonight when he comes home about all his behaviours. So he's been swearing, which he only does when he's in a stressed, screaming. He's got kicked this week, not the other child's fault. He was just in the way. But there's all these things that are happening, and it's all because of this change and the ramifications of what's happened of Penn. And Jonathan's not alone. I've got email in front of me now from another parent whose older child, his sort of sixth form age. He hasn't got a place like Penn or a school. He's been put into further education college for 3 days a week, and then another 2 days doing other activities of some description. He's apparently regressed into just watching or listening to his Lord of the Rings CD and spinning around on the spot, which is something they do, repetitive behaviours, and crying, or going between crying and being angry, and when these children are big, if they lash out, not because they mean to, they can really hurt, and and all the, and that's just a couple of stories,
Amanda, has there been any word, any letters from the trustees? Now it's all over. No thank you and goodbye, nothing.
Nothing. We didn't get an apology, which is what I'd asked for. Just something personal to say, yes, we messed up. Yes, we did it wrong. And we are really, truly sorry for what we've done to you. Nothing. And that really hurts because I'm quite a forgiving person and life moves on and things happen, but not to even have a word from them, not an apology, nothing. I think apparently they've issued some statement again through their PR company, and there was a blog from the Penn and Tyler's Green, just where they've stated, that there's nothing that. In fact, I haven't read their PR.
Well, they haven't sent it to us. You'll be astounded to know we haven't got it. So
yeah.
But it doesn't end for us here. What I was going to say to you is, I know that you're trying to find out what happens next with the administrators, and we're certainly going to do that too. You gave them a ring, didn't you?
Yes, well, we had an email and they said they would phone yesterday evening. No phone call, so I've emailed again this morning to say, hello, we're here, please contact. We want to know what's happening with the site. A lot of information has been provided to Deloitte about the site and different things that have gone on in the past, and we're expecting an investigation into misadministration or bad management or whatever you want to call it, and any bids that come forward in the future for building or whatever they're going to do on that site. We want to know that there's clarity and scrutiny on that before anything happens. Not that we can influence that, but we just want to, we want to know what's going to happen to that site.
Yeah, absolutely. So do we. So we gave them a ring yesterday and we didn't get massively helpful response, but the person that we do have regular contact with is back on Monday, so we'll give them another crack on Monday. But we're not going to leave it, that's what we wanted to say.
Amanda, good luck. Good luck. We'll speak again soon, and, let's hope things settle down at the school.
Lovely, and so I know
sure
there are teachers out there as well still with no jobs, and or they've started jobs and it's just not worked out, and they're so it's not just parents and the children, it's the teachers as well. There's a lot of ramifications across a huge, and nothing from those blooming trustees and nothing from the MP.
Well, there's a surprise.
Steve Baker. So
I remember that guy. I remember that guy who said that I breached guidelines by asking him some questions. Amanda, good to talk to you. We'll keep following this, and we'll try and follow the money and indeed follow the building. Right, 03459 455 555 is the phone number. Albert, stay there. We'll come to you after we've done this.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hemel Hempstead on the A41. Reports that's partially blocked going north. That's queuing for about a mile. It's because a car's overturned after Two Waters Road, the Hemel Hempstead turn-off. Thanks to Kristen for the update on that. On the M25, anti-clockwise, looking better now from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40. Also, that clearing, the mile-long queue clearing on the M40 going north into the Handy Cross roundabout. Still very heavy, though, on the A1 going south between Eton Soak and the St Neots Junction and the Black Cat roundabout. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Tom. It's a Dealey Fest the last 15 minutes of the show, and why the hell not? Why the hell not? Right, it's Friday the 11th of September. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The Mayor of Watford says people are seeking assurances about the quality of their hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. And MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. It's going to be a lovely day today, staying dry with lots of sunshine around, blue skies and just a little bit of patchy cloud, really. We do have some at the moment. That should clear. Temperature-wise, we'll be up to the same values as we saw yesterday, so 21, even 22 degrees Celsius, perhaps a little bit cooler towards the eastern areas of Hertfordshire. Quite breezy as well as the southeasterly wind, but all in all, a lovely day. Now, overnight tonight, we'll start to see the cloud thicken from the west, and eventually we'll get some spells of rain as we head into tomorrow morning too, so a bit of a wet start to the weekend, but a mild night to come. Lows of around 15 or 16 degrees, and then, yes, some rain around first thing tomorrow, some heavy bursts at times as well, but then by tomorrow afternoon it should have cleared to leave us with a dry Saturday afternoon, some sunny spells emerging, and temperatures not too bad either, 19 or 20 degrees Celsius. Dry and clear on Saturday night into Sunday, so feeling quite chilly as well, I dare say. And then into Sunday, most places will stay dry. We might just see one or two showers around in places, it's true, but I think on the whole a dry day. Some sunny spells around, feeling a bit cooler with temperatures at around 16 or 17 degrees, and then very wet, very windy at times into next week. It's looking particularly unsettled, some heavy showers and some strong gusts of wind. So enjoy the sunshine today, basically. That's the forecast.
On Inside Out, we visit the Muslim school where students and staff tell us how they cope with suspicion and prejudice. We meet the man who says the bank cost him his business. And in preparation for the 2015 Rugby World Cup, we get an exclusive look at how England's physio team prepare players to be pushed to the limit. Inside Out with me, David Whiteley, Monday, 7:30 on
That's
BBC
sports. You compare that to the other trail, where they don't push us very hard and they're very friendly. Whiteley's got it right. Well, they push the England rugby team to the very limits of their physical capabilities and beyond.
Yeah, but they're grown-ups and that person was a kid.
Well, those kids are going to be weak kids. They're going to be pussycats by the time they grow up. Huh? And we don't want that, do we, Dealey?
No, we don't. David Whiteley, fantastic hair, lovely colour in his hair as well.
Gosh,
just saying.
wow. You are just saying that. Right. Yeah. You took Albert the meat packer out on the streets. or Albert, did you take him out on the streets? How did it work?
He basically abducted me against my wishes, but
Wowzers.
It was all right. I had a bit of prep. I was ready for the people of Dunstable, Iain. I'd had me jabs.
Yes.
And I got myself covered in tattoos and started smoking, so I'd blend in. And they
no idea what he's referring to. Yes. Dealey, what was he like as a voxer? You've taken a few punters out. Oh.
So, yeah, a new feature, taking listeners out onto the streets with questions which they want to ask people. I have to say, Albert was an absolute natural. I'm even thinking about snapping him up for a future programme that I will be presenting. This guy, He has got it, mate. He's got it, absolutely.
Wow. Well, shall we have a listen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go.
Taking it to the streets with Albert's the meat packer.
Hashtag, what's the worst thing you have ever had in your mouth?
Oh, a piece of steak. I'm vegetarian.
Oh, there is help available. Don't worry. How long have you been veggie?
Many, many years. But I'm not strict, you know.
When was the last time you had a tasty piece of meat in your mouth?
At the weekend, I was out visiting and I had some very nice roast chicken.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's a lovely, beautiful lady sitting outside a cafe covered in tattoos and smoking like a trooper. What's your name, darling?
Anna.
Anna, what's the worst thing you've ever had in your mouth?
Oysters.
Oh, disgusting. Yes. Did you swallow it whole?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Can you tell me, what's the worst thing you've ever had in your mouth?
I hate being put on the spot.
That's all right, we've got time.
Probably surströmming.
Surströmming? What's that? Is it foreign?
It's a fermented fish.
Why did you eat that?
Because it was so horrible.
You ate it because it was horrible.
Yeah.
Were you being tortured?
No.
I've got work.
Good morning. I know you've got 2 seconds, Kelly, because you're very busy working. I need the ginger perspective from a lovely redhead. What's the worst thing you've ever had in your mouth?
Nothing.
You've never put anything in your mouth?
No.
Do you absorb food, like, through your skin?
Yeah.
You're a really cheap date. That's fantastic. Do you drink at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. You look like you have a nice drink now and again. It's getting too tense. Thank you. Cheers, Kaylee. Great perspective. What about you, darling?
Brussels. I hate Brussels.
The place or the sprout?
Sprout.
Good morning, sir.
Good, thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you very much. You're a very polite man. You're from Kashmir?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Do you like Kashmiri chicken?
Yeah, of course.
Kashmiri prawns?
Yeah.
Kashmiri fish?
Yes.
Kashmiri potatoes?
Yes.
This might take a while.
Yeah, no problem.
What's the worst thing you've ever put in your mouth?
Pork.
Salad.
You like the meat?
Yeah.
What sort of meat do you like?
Pork meat.
Do you have any pork on you now?
No.
Well, he's he took it to the streets.
He did.
Did
and
it
of course,
get tense there? Because last time with Carpet Martin it got tense.
Yeah.
Was there any tension there?
Yeah, especially when he's approaching a redhead saying, I think you're a heavy drinker.
Yeah.
Things did get tense there. But yeah, if you want to come out on the streets, so we've done this with now Carpet Martin, also Colin from Dunstable and his fossils. Dave Lewson is coming out on the streets very soon. But it's got to be a question which you want to ask the public. That's all we ask. We go out for 10 or 15 minutes and we have great fun.
Okay. Well, Albert, are you back to work now?
I am. I've got to take my kids to school. And I must say, Ian, I'm disappointed. When I came in yesterday and I was looked after by Catherine and J-Dog, we all saw you running, crying across the car park when you saw me coming.
You knew there was no chance of me ever meeting you.
I will stalk you and I will find you.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, Justin,
Yes.
I cannot for the life of me remember this. We think that we know that what's inside golf balls. It's white paste and
rubber bands.
And rubber bands. The rubber band man. That's what's inside them. I do not believe that holes in ones are holes in one.
A hole in one.
But I want to pluralise it.
Okay. All right, mate.
But I don't know how to. This is where my struggle begins. I do not believe that holes in ones exists.
Okay.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Can you just remind me how you even started this conversation this morning about getting a hole in one and what's inside a golf ball?
We were talking about balls.
Well, I've got literally no idea.
What's the hardest ball?
I've had 4 hours sleep, and if I'm honest, I'm still buzzing after being crowned King of Brighton last night.
I was going to say a bit of feedback for you. I would say to you, don't sleep, have 4 hours sleep a night more often. I think you've been on top form this morning.
I'm absolutely shattered. Right. Oh, look, Darren's just posted a nice picture of me hugging him last night. There was lots of man love last night. I know partly because it's Brighton, but also lots of blokes. Look, I tell you what, I did a show last night. I'm doing a few more. I'm in Worcester tonight. A few tickets left. Swindon tomorrow. 80% of tickets left. That's a fact. That's going to be awkward. I'm playing at a venue that holds 200. I sold about 20. But I was made to feel better because someone said, I saw Dodgy playing this venue. They only had 30 people. So I feel better. If Dodgy can only draw 30, there's 3 of them. That's 10 each.
Enough for them.
But last night I had lots of shy, awkward, geeky men, people like me, Justin, coming up to me saying... or their wives pushing them up going, he won't say it, he's a really big fan of yours, can he have a picture? And Darren was one of them, so nice one, Darren, thank you for that. Right, I've got no idea why we were talking about golf balls, but we is, and you've taken this to the streets.
Yeah, I have, and this is a tough one because to go out and find people that have got a hole in one, that is a tough ask, mate. That is a very, very tough ask.
But you're the J-Dog.
Yeah, okay, and I think, golf is a universal game, so we're trying to get perspectives here from right the way across the world on whether people have got a hole-in-one. The streets have spoken this morning. Here's what happened. Have you ever got a hole-in-one before?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was me and my cousin was playing golf here in the park. We made a tiny hole.
It wasn't on a golf course?
No.
Ah, no, so we can't accept that. Thanks, mate.
It's all right.
Have you ever got a hole-in-one?
Yes.
Where?
Windmill Golf Club.
Get out of here.
Cost me a fortune for having drinks at the bar.
Who's that on the phone?
That's the wife.
Should we ignore it?
I'll call her back in a minute.
Okay, mate. So you you didn't win anything yourself?
No, just an empty wallet.
I'll leave you to it. Take care.
Cheers.
Say hello to your missus for me.
Will do.
J-Dog.
Cheers.
Let's get the Ghanaian perspective. Madam, it looks like you'd be very handy with a golf club. Have you ever got a hole-in-one before?
No.
You had to think. Are you sure?
Yes.
Do you know what a hole-in-one is?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, just for the future, it's where you get your club and you hit your ball and your ball goes down the hole.
Yeah.
Martin, fantastic tan. Martin, you have got a hole-in-one. Tell us what happened, Chief.
I was down in Australia on holiday.
Australia?
Yes.
Okay.
With my cousin, and I played a course called Kurakai, which is near Brisbane.
Yeah.
And it was on a par 3, 169 metres, I believe, something like that.
Yeah.
And hole-in-one.
Can you prove it?
Yards.
If you come to my house, yeah.
What's at your house?
I've got the ball that was raised, put on a statue of a golfer by my cousin. Plus, I've got the card signed up to show that I got a hole-in-one.
And a video?
No.
Ah.
I'm pulling your leg.
Never
Thank
a
you very
video.
much. You're
And
welcome.
that's it, Justin. That's
Yeah.
the evidence. I've got the ball. All right, I've got balls, and I show them regularly. Doesn't mean I got a hole in one.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Who's that first fella? We made a hole, and we got the ball in there.
I know. He claimed he got a hole-in-one. Sorry, mate. I'm sorry, but you've got to play by the rules here. That's not a hole-in-one. Get out of here.
Stay there. Sam, I'm deliberately not reading your text out, which means you don't get points. But Carpet Martin, you want some points.
5 points in the bag, Ian.
Just for coming on?
Yeah, done it.
How
Nailed
many
it.
points do you get for actually talking to a real Dave? Do we know?
A real Dave?
Yeah, did they... I know there's points if you get to speak to Robo Dave, but what about real Dave? Try it, see what happens.
6 points. 6 points.
See what happens. Say hello to him.
Hi, Dave.
Good morning, sir.
Dave. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thank you. I'm a bit browned off, hanging around on this phone all morning.
Really?
You know, I've got work to do.
Have you?
I'm a busy man, mate. You know.
What's on for today? What are you doing today?
Well, just loitering, but I'm a busy man.
Oh. Loitering in Luton?
Well, hanging around there, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've got some work to do on my car, mate. It's got a little bit of problem. Yeah.
What's happened? Windscreen?
Clutch? No, it's a
Big
clutch.
end?
It's a clutch, mate. Just
clutch?
slipping. Yeah.
How long is that going to take?
I don't know. I leave it at a garage. 4 hours, mate. 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours?
Yeah.
What will you do while it's going?
These stupid cars of the today, mate. Because the engine goes the other way, not forwards. It's a big job.
Reverse?
Yeah, reverse and everything else. Oh, so he's just left me with you, is he, today, is he?
Just you and me. Just you and me, Dave.
Here, mate. Have you been hearing that hissing all morning on the radio?
Have I been hearing what?
The hissing sound, the crackling.
It sounds like a bit like a snake, yeah?
Yeah, it's like him at the studio. How he talks, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's been getting on my nerves, that noise has, mate, so I've been listening to Heart.
Well, it's often the best choice, I find.
Here it comes, mate, with this music now.
6 points.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The A41 at Hemel Hempstead going north, that's queuing for around a mile. There's a lane closed there because a car's overturned just after the A414, the Hemel Hempstead turnoff. Through Hemel on London Road, it's queuing from Two Waters Road to Berkhamsted as people are diverting around that. On the A1 going south, you'll still find queues into the Black Cat roundabout and further towards London, queuing between Holiday Inn and Stelling Corner in Borehamwood. On the trains on Abellio Greater Anglia, it's suspended between Cambridge and Stansted Airport and Bishop Stortford because of a signal problem. There are some replacement buses on the way. Tom Watts, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Tom, thank you very much indeed. Excellent stuff as always, boss. That's it, that's your lot. There'll be a new podcast up on the BBC Three Counties website in an hour or so. It'll be on iTunes probably after lunch. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Catherine. And breathe. Back on Monday at 6. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. We've made it. It's Friday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, would you like your MP to vote for or against assisted dying? MPs will vote today on whether to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients in England and Wales. The private member's bill would allow doctors to prescribe a lethal dose of drugs to people thought to have less than 6 months to live and who have asked to be helped to die. In each case, 2 doctors and a High Court judge would have to agree to assisted dying, and only the patient could administer the medication to end their own life. Medical professionals would be entitled to refuse to be involved in the process. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, is urging MPs to reject the bill, warning that it would change the way society values life. But supporters say it will allow people in pain to die in dignity. Well, this morning I want to hear your reaction to this. Would you like your MP to vote for or against assisted dying? Here's my telephone number for your call. It's 03459 455 555.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your call in just a second, but first the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock with Simon Oxley.
The headlines: don't worry about attending Watford Hospital, says Town's MP. Hertfordshire Roads firm fined over £500,000. And Paula's husband says World Anti-Doping Agency should back Bedford athlete.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The MP for Watford says people should not be worried about attending the town's hospital after it was labelled inadequate by inspectors. Richard Harrington says being put into special measures will allow more government funding to make improvements.
I'm not surprised. I was one of the people who instigated the report being done in the first place, to give her credit with the previous chief executive. And I'm glad it's in special measures because it's now going to get the determined attention and resources that it needs.
The company hired by Hertfordshire County Council to look after its roads has been fined over £500,000 for failing to meet its targets. Ringway was fined around £670,000 over the last 2 years for failing to respond to repair requests, not gritting roads quickly enough and working without a road permit. The company receives around £35 million a year. Councillor Terry Douris is responsible for highways at the County Council.
I think that we actually do get good value for money. We have a very tight contract for the repairs of the highways in Hertfordshire. Some people would disagree, and I accept that they will not see it like that. We are aware that we are dealing with public money, and in fact I think that Ringway are improving. There is a way to go yet.
MPs will today debate proposals to legalise assisted dying for terminally ill patients. The private member's bill would allow doctors to prescribe a lethal dose to people thought to have less than 6 months to live who've asked to be helped to die. The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, is urging them to reject the bill, but one of his predecessors, Lord Carey, believes the law should change.
There's nothing dignified about experiencing pain at its most awful point. And therefore I felt actually compelled to say, no, I'm going to fight this.
A gang of paedophiles, including a man from Bedfordshire, will be sentenced today. The 7 men